Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still, know you are God. For rest my soul in Christ alone. Know His love in quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God.
We are one in IIE mission and vision, instilling excellence in electrical profession, having a dynamic professional association, making innovative contribution to our nation. Stronger than chain and bolt, rising to any challenge, involving wars, homes and boats, PEREE and RME, connecting industries by the electric circuit. Bind us together, bind us forever, with power cords cannot be broken. Bind us together, bind us together, bind us forever, synchronize our hearts to reach greater heights and brighter lights. We serve humanity with the power of electricity, making rigid transmission Great for reliability, ensuring little power loss and high efficiency. From shifting from one place, the use of all energy. Bind us together, IIB. Bind us forever, IIB. With our hearts cannot be broken. Bind us together, IIB. Bind us together, IIB. Bind us forever, IIB. Synchronize our hearts to reach greater heights and brighter light. There's only one institute, no one else can substitute. There's only one IIB.
And to welcome us for today's event, we would like to call on the Army Affairs and Electricians Academy Committee Chairman, Mr. Ferdinand L. de los Santos.
Well, good morning. Thank you very much, Ma'am Monique. Well, good morning to all of our guest speakers. Our National President, Engineer Alan Anthony P. Alvarez. Good morning. Engineer Lyndon R. Bagge, National Vice President, Internal Affairs. Good morning, sir. Our National Vice President, Technical Affairs, Engineer Feliciano F. Padua III. Good morning, sir. Our National Secretary, Engineer Alberto R. Herrera Jr. Good morning. Our National Treasurer, Engineer Esperanza A. Collado. Good morning, ma'am. And all former regional governor and our committee member. Good morning to you. And to our resource speaker for today, good morning to all of you, sir and ma'am. And we are very much excited to learn the very informative topics that we will share it. And good morning to our sponsor for today, Peps Dodge Philippines and Panasonic. Thank you for joining us in our first summit. And warmest greeting and good morning to all the participants here today who are listening and watching our webinar from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and abroad via Zoom. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first Electrical Enthusiast Summit year 2021. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman Ferdinand de los Santos, for the Army Affairs and Electricians Academy Committee. Of course, we would like to call on the Vice Chairman as well for him to acknowledge our guests and dignitaries for today. Mr. Anastasio S. Catalan Jr. Hello, sir.
Yes, good morning. Okay, good morning to all. So, once I call your name, paano ang gagawin natin? Kailangan meron tayong confirm para maging masaya. So, good morning sa lahat. So, dapat pagkatatawagin ay ano ba ang dapat nating i-confirm? Sisigaw tayo ng IIE or double I, double E para Siyempre, maliit ang screen natin. Hindi natin alam kung yung mga babanggitin ko ay naka-attend ba. Okay? I call Engineer Alan Anthony Alvarez, IAE National President.
Yes, IAE. Yun. Morning.
I call Engineer Lyndon R. Baque, Vice President for Internal Affairs.
Present, IAE.
Yes. I call Roland P. Vasquez, Vice President for External Affairs. Nandiyan ba siya? Okay. I call Engineer Feliciano F. Padua III, Vice President for Technical Affairs.
Good morning, IIEE.
Yes. Okay. I call Engineer Alberto R. Herrera Jr., our IAE National Secretary.
Good morning, June, IIE.
Okay, yes, okay. I call Engineer Esperanza A. Collado, our IAE National Treasurer.
IIEE, good morning sa lahat.
Yes, okay. I call on Engineer Eusebio A. Gonzalez, our National Auditor. Wala. Okay, ito naman pong ating Regional Governor. Ay sasabihin ko na po lahat kung sakaling nandito sila ay mag-confirm lang po sila. Okay, I call Engineer Jaime B. Lucas, our Regional Governor for Northern Laguna and Northern Luzon. Northern Luzon, correction, okay. Wala pa. I call Engineer Woody G. Irama, Regional Governor for Central Luzon. Wala pa rin. So, I call Engineer Alwin M. Wagan, Regional Governor for Metro Manila. Wala pa rin. I call Engineer Jeffrey T. Tanhutko.
Good morning, sir.
Regional Governor for Southern Luzon.
Sorry, good morning, sir. Good morning, IIE.
Thank you. I call on Joselito S. Orticio, Regional Governor for Bicol. Okay. I call on Engineer Nonilo M. Nacion for Regional Governor for Western Visayas. Wala pa. I call on Engineer Felipe C. Milyama, Regional Governor for Eastern and Central Visayas. I call on Engineer Sandro Al Villarosa, so Regional Governor for Northern Mindanao. I call on Engineer Aris Flav G. Guani, Regional Governor for Southern Mindanao. I call on Engineer Christian J. Maligro, Regional Governor for Western Mindanao. I call on Engineer Orlando T. Villarapana Jr., Engineer for Regional Governor for Middle East. And our other guests, I call on, of course, our chairman of the RME Affairs and Electrician Academy Committee. I call on RME Ferdinand L. De Los Santos, our chairman. And I call on engineer or RME Marcelito A. Mangaong. Wala pa. I call on RME Casimiro A. Flores. I call on RME Belmore C. Villena. Our member is Engineer Castor T. Ison.
Good morning, IIE.
Yes, thank you. I call on Engineer Villamor O. Tumbaga. And call on member Bernie Doctolero. And last but not the least, I call on Aremi Buantano. So para po doon sa mga ibang dignitaries na hindi ko nabanggit, welcome po sa aming RME first summit, RME Affair and Electron Academy. Okay, thank you very much. And also pahabol po kay Engineer Jigger Bugtong, our champion and advisor. Okay na po. Nakaano po kayo? Yan.
Thank you very much to our Vice Chairman for Army Affairs and Electricians Academy Committee, no other than Mr. Anastasio S. Catalan Jr. And of course, today's event would not be possible, and as well for the message of our 2021 IAE National President, Engineer Alan Anthony P. Alvarez. Hello, Sir Alan.
Yeah, thank you, Monique. So, naririnig ba ako, Monique?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
All right. So, good morning,
Parang malayo
Philippines.
ka Parang malayo ka.
And very early morning dito sa Dubai. Yeah, I'm very proud of this event, being the first electrical enthusiast summit organized by our committee for RME Affairs and Academic Committee, Electrician Committee, headed by our chairman, Ferdy de los Santos. Medyo bagong gising pa ako. Congratulations for the team for building this up, the very first summit for enthusiasts. Pag sinabi mo kasing enthusiast, so this cover all our membership who are interested, of course, in single topic, which is all about electrical matter, and in particular, of course, yung sa safety portion. So yung team RMEAEC and ang ating champion and advisor, of course, my 2017 colleague, Governor Jig Bugtong. Magandang umaga, sir. And thank you for the Vice Chairman, June Catalan. You have mentioned all the distinguished guests available here. Maraming salamat sa pag-attend. Of course, June is my colleague din sa IAE Central Laguna, a very entrepreneur guy na RME. So, a very good success story ng isang ating RME that perhaps we can emulate. With me today, yung ating mga colleague from the ExCom, headed by the overseer ng committee na to, VP Tech Feliciano Jojo Padua, BPI Lindon, NSEC, June, Entres, Chi, all are here. Yung ating purpose dito, later on, I think, Ferdy, hindi yata niya na-mention, he talks about it already. As you know, we would like na palakasin talaga yung committee ni Ferdy. Particularly that we have already enforced yung yung ating RME to be a regular member ng ating organization. No? Before, associate ang ating tag sa kanila as a member. So now we put it as a regular member. So in that sense, we have to really propagate down no, yung mga programs ng ating National Committee on RME. That's why we are creating as a standing committee on all chapter yung RMEAC. No? So hopefully some of the chairman or would-be chairman are attending today para to listen on the programs as well as the kung ano yung foreseeable future for our RME. Just yesterday, we have a good activity here in Dubai. We have done as well the first Skills Olympic after this pandemic that called us back to do face-to-face. So it was a real fun, no? Putting up a good camaraderie among PEE, REE, and RME. No? Kasi when we do the Skills Olympic, we don't limit it to our RME colleague. No? Pinagsasama-sama talaga natin. So to see the complementarity in action, no? We have to learn as well kung ano yung hirap ng ating mga colleague down the RME when they do the tasks, no? Para we can relate on what they are passionate to do, no? Yung mga work nila. So in the future, I'm just dreaming, no, na sana we could establish some sort of cooperative, no? Dito kasi sa Dubai, of course, hindi rin masyadong naging stable ang work dahil sa pandemic. Not only in Dubai, no, most outside the Philippines, nagbabalikan na po yung iba nating mga kasamahan dahil either nare-redundant na yung trabaho. So hopefully we will come up with some sort of cooperative. So this will not help only yung mga displaced na kababayan natin, but as well yung ating mga RME, ano? So yung concept ng cooperative, of course, is that it would help our members to do some startup, no, sa kanilang mga kanilang own businesses. I would not be detailing much of the cooperative system, but it is somehow aligned with the future program ni Chairman, no, De Los Santos. No? So just wait for it. Abangan po natin yung mga magagandang programa ng committee na ito. I see some committee as well na narito, no? Kasi the complementarity or cooperative of those committee is needed. Narito yung ating vice chair ng safety committee, no? Sir Rubina. And yung ating champion and advisor nila, no? Co-advisor, si fellow June Lopez. Narito rin ang ating publication committee chairman, si Gob Joji, no? Yung publication natin is now in paper, is now in electronic, and then the media part will also be coming in. So we have partnership with UNTV. Ipopropagate natin yung ating program, no? Kailangan maging visible tayo talaga. So that's why we have UNTV as a partner. Although ang main intent really nito is naman doon sa ating other part of our mantra for the year, no? Yung resiliency. So the disaster and emergency component, yun yung talagang intent ng ating UNTV partnership. Pero of course, we can use it in our all activities sa IAE. O, narito na pala yung ating NAT auditor, si Elboy Gonzalez. So Elboy, sigaw ka raw ng IAE. And as the chairman, Anthony Abuel is also here.
Good morning. Good morning.
And of course, our father sa IAE, ang ating butihing honorable chairman, Francis Mapile. Magandang umaga po, sir, mula dito sa Dubai.
Good morning.
Yeah. So without much ado, no, I'll turn over now to the host. Maraming salamat po again for the committee for having this event, and to the audience, Maraming salamat in attending. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, our 2021 IIEE National President. So napakaganda na no, ng mga updates na binigay sa atin ng ating Presidente that we will be having a cooperative. Sana ma-implement talaga yan para beneficial, lalo na ngayong pandemic, and as well for our media partner is the UNTV. And we are very, very exciting for that to happen, na talagang pag may mga disasters po, no, may mga partners talaga tayo na ating maasahan para sa ating mga members ng ating institute. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our keynote and guest speaker for today. Of course, he is the IAEE National President last 2002 and the former President of the Philippine Association of Professional Regulatory Board Members Incorporated and the Chairman of the Professional Regulatory Board of Electrical Engineering. No other than our Honorable Francis B. Matide. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rick. Thank you very much for that very kind introduction. Good morning to everybody. Good morning,
Sir
to
Francis.
our national. Can you hear me? Am I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear po.
Okay. Our national president, Alan, who is now having a vacation in Dubai. Alan, I hope you're enjoying your stay there. To our VP Internal, Lyndon Bage.
Yes, sir.
Who else? To the officers here, Jojo Padua, I think I saw you a while ago.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. We also have June Herrera, I think he's here. Chi, I don't know if Chi is here. Chi Collado.
Good morning, sir. Dito ako.
Oh, there you are, Chi. Of course, you will never be absent. Who else? Elboy, I hope Elboy is here. Who else did I miss? Okay, may na-miss ako, no? Of course, to our chairman of RME committee. Is that correct, Ferdi? And then we have June Catalan.
Sir,
right
good morning.
now.
Good morning, sir.
Of course, good morning to, long time now. Of course, good morning to the very active guy of our electrical safety, Engineer June Abuel. Congratulations to your previous summit, June. I think you're here, right?
Good morning, Chairman.
Morning, June. And to all of you who are listening right now to this very important National Electrical Enthusiast Summit. No? And as what our president has told you a while ago, being an enthusiast is somebody who is very interested in a particular activity. It so happened that the activity right now is our electrical safety, but not only that, but I think advocacy on the electrical safety, but as well as the promotion of our registered master electrician practitioners. As you know, regulation, to my understanding, is first and foremost for the protection of the public. So that is the reason why we're trying to regulate the practice of electrical engineering so that the public may be protected, their properties can be protected, their lives can be protected, and the whole community and the whole country and the whole nation will be protected from the electrical hazard, be it fire or the electrical shocks. For me, regulation is primarily for that purpose. And the secondary purpose of the regulation is, of course, to ensure that the practice is sacred to all of us and to all the people, and the practice will be promoted. That is why we are trying our best to enforce the RA 7920 provisions, most especially in relation to the practices, not only of the PEE, but as well as the REE and the RMEs. When we try to compare the different ASEAN countries as far as electrician is concerned, I think I would like to believe that in the competitiveness of the Filipino electricians, they are above and beyond the skills and competency of the ASEAN electrician. And they are also given the opportunity at par with the European and the US electricians. I think the only difference right now is that I can think of as far as our European and our American counterparts, the Western counterparts are concerned, are more on the resources and more on the additional regulation that is required for all of us to raise the level of the competencies of the master electrician. But we are going into that. We are now working working with the stakeholders, IIE, so that we may be able to improve the competency and the skills of the RMEs. And then from there also, we may be able to give them match them with the correct job depending upon the skills. But please take note, my colleagues, that the license itself is not really a guarantee in terms of whether you can have a job or whether you can be promoted or not. The license is a way of protecting the public. The next best thing to do is, of course, will now be in terms of the attitude towards work. We have seen a lot of this good electricians, foremen, but when it comes to work, some of them really have to improve on the attitude as far as work is concerned. So if you're going to ask me if an employer would be looking for an electrician, a licensed electrician versus an unlicensed, sometimes there was this mismatch, as you say, in the competition, simply because the licensed electrician tends to think that he is more superior than an unlicensed simply because of having been given a license to practice. But remember, the license to practice is one thing, and the ability to learn more and the attitude towards work is much better than having a license on its own. One of the things that I've seen in my so many years in the board and giving examination is that there is a bit of a, I hope that we can change that, a bit of a disparity between the qualification of an examinee as far as the master electricians are concerned. We noticed that in the past so many years, the examinees for the master electricians are those graduate of the BSEE, meaning they are taking two examinations, one for the registered electrical engineer and the other for the registered master electrician. And some of the faculty, our faculty colleagues in the electrical engineering profession were complaining that instead of this REE, instead of the baccalaureate degree EE, focusing their attention, the review class on the electrical subjects, the review, the focus is divided because of course, this is a complaint. It can be a hearsay, but I'd like to report to you that some of the faculties will be saying that they are trying to encourage the BSEE graduates to take both. There's nothing wrong with that. the RE examination as well as the RME examination. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to do that. The law says that you are still allowed to do that. But sometimes they take a shortcut because under the law, you need 1 year of experience for a BSCE as part of the qualification before you will be able to take the RME examination. But what is happening now in the field is that if we try to give an examination for the Ohm's law for a BSEE graduate versus a high school graduate, there is no match there. So we notice also that most of the top-notchers from the RME examination are BSEE graduates, and they failed in the REE examination. And what is disturbing there is that these REEs are still proud and say that, you know, we were number one. I am number one. I am top 10, and we beat the RMEs, other RMEs. But if you take the population and the profile of the RME examinees, some of them are high school graduates that a very legitimate background on the electrical engineering practice. But somehow they are not really that good as far as theoretical is concerned, for example, in the Ohm's law. And you can just imagine a high school graduate with a knowledge of the Ohm's law versus a BSEE graduate with the knowledge of an Ohm's law. Do you think the RME high school graduate will beat the BSEE who are supposed to study electrical engineering for 5 years? So this is something that I would like to call the attention. Everybody, in terms of the advocacy, let us put more weight on the practice on how the electricians can get the examination and can get license without having them competing with the BSEE graduates. This is indeed a challenge. Now, I did have a proposal, but still on the work in progress, that in order for us to somehow minimize, not really eliminate this kind of disparity between a BSEE and a high school graduate with experience taking up the examination, I'm now working on a resolution so that one of the requirements for taking the RME examination is a NC certification. So at least from there, or maybe another way is maybe I pass through the channel of your RME, and then you guys would be able. This is just a design yet, and you guys or IA may be able to come up with a certification certifying that this guy really has an experience, a ground experience, a field experience as far as an electrician is concerned, even if he's a BSE. Because most of the time, ito pong mga kumukuha na BSE natin ay lumalapit lang sa mga kaibigan at pinipirmahan niyang certification for 1 year. It's really very difficult for us to verify on all of these things. And sometimes even the review schools, the review sometimes, yung mga engineers po in the review centers, they are signing on the certificate of those BSE who wanted to take the examination. It would appear that that is still an income for them. If you review on the RE exam, we will review again on the RME exam. This is an additional income for them. So they will not hesitate to sign your certification if you are a BSEE graduate. So that is where now we get a handful of licensed master electrician, but when you put them into the field, they really know nothing. The skills is not enough, but it will take them a longer time. So we are trying to to change that profile. We wanted to change that profile. Hopefully, as I have worked on the resolution on the matter, all of those BSEE will be filtered. We will be able to filter them.
Messenger audio.
I'm sorry about that. We'll be able to filter them so that we can only really accept or admit those who will be taking examination for the RME, those who have a minimum really qualification, and that we can get to see them that they are really have this experience as far as household wiring is concerned, bending of pipes, knowledge of the Philippine electrical code. With that, I congratulate each and every one of you, and I hope that you continue this work. And we have a lot of work to do in this pandemic, and let us take this opportunity that in the comfort of our homes, we will continue to be productive. We will continue to help each other, and we will continue to make sure that we will be the #1 engineering profession in the Philippines. Thank you very much to all of you. Thanks for listening. Monique?
Thank you very much, Honorable Francis B. Mapile. And of course, that is a very great words to ponder earlier. Ang aking takeaway, you mentioned that its skills and attitude is inseparable. Indeed, a very words of wisdom coming from our Honorable Francis B. Mapile. And of course, we will be awarding the Certificate of Appreciation. I would like to call on the Chairman for Army Affairs and Nutrition's Academy Committee, no other than Mr. Ferdinand L. de los Santos.
I will read the certificate. Institute of Integrated Electrical Engineers of the Philippines, Incorporated, Accredited Professional Organization, Certificate number 1-APO-16, PRC Accredited CPD, provider number OEE 2020-07. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Honorable Francis B. Mapile, in grateful acknowledgement of his distinguished and invaluable efforts as keynote and guest speaker during the first National Electrical Enthusiast Summit by Zoom, given this 22nd day of May 2021, program accreditation number 0EE-2020-007-146. Signed, myself, Engineer Alan Antonio P. Alvarez, 2021 National President. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Ferdi. Thank you. Thank you, Press Alan. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Honorable Francis B. Mapile.
Thank you very much, Honorable Francis B. Mapile. So there you go. So we will be having our orientation and house rules for this morning. So just a bit reminder to our delegates for today. So your attendance will be based on the data generated from Zoom. So kindly make sure that you're using your real name. So if you're registered via Zoom, so it will prompt to input your name. So ayan po. And as well for AC monitoring, if you have questions related to the topic later on, kindly utilize the Q&A box. This can be found at the lower part of your screen. And also you may also raise your hand if you want to ask live. It will be approved by our resource speaker later on. And presentations will be sent to your registered email address. You don't need to leave your email address on the chat, but since we already have the record of those who have attended the summit. So links will be provided as well by our IAE technical team in the chat box at the end of the program. So as well as later on, if you sign out or log out to the Zoom room, evaluation link will appear once you sign out. Kindly make sure to visit and update your IAE membership portal so you have access to your e-certificate. For those who are registered non-members and students, we will provide a link for your e-certificate request. And please take note that hopefully you will give us an ample amount of time to upload your certificate because the team will need to accomplish the CPD report before you can have your CPD points. So that is our reminders. Our former governor, if I'm not mistaken, Engineer Joji R. Bautro is one with us to monitor your attendance in our activity. So hope that makes sense for today's orientation and house rules. And later on, we will be having our raffle. Ayan. Ang mga prizes po na abangan natin ay mag-flash sa inyong screen. There you go. So for our first raffle, later on, during lunchtime, we will be having our sets of vanity bag with IAE mask, as well as the sets of IAE cap with IAE mask. So pag po kayong bibitaw, later on, we will have a raffle. So just sit back and relax, and we will now proceed to our technical sessions for this morning. Okay, for our first resource speaker, so for our first resource speaker, we have, he is the Chief for Intelligence and Investigation, Bureau of Fire Protection, National Capital Region, Department of Interior and Local Government. He is the member as well of the IAE Electrical Safety Committee. Please welcome no other than Engineer R.G. J. Baniel.
Okay, thank you. How is my audio, Ma'am, Miss Host?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, so am I now allowed to share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so nakikita na po ba yung screen?
Yes, sir. Nakikita na.
Okay, so thank you. First and foremost, thank you very much for the RMEAEAC for inviting me to be a speaker for today. And of course, I would like first to acknowledge the presence of no other than the Honorable Francis P. Mapili, which is the PRC Board of Electrical Engineering, and also to the President, IAE National President, Engineer Alan Alvarez, and then to the Chairman of RMEAEC, which is Mr. Ferdinand R. de los Santos, and also to the Chairman of the Electrical Safety Committee, Engineer Abuel, sir, good morning, and to the advisor of the Electrical Safety Committee, which is Engineer Paul Leoncio and Engineer Jun Santos, and also to Engineer Robina. Good morning. And of course, to our colleagues who is a registered master electricians for today's session. So, ang nabigay sa akin na topic is that about discussing the Fire and Electrical Safety Committee. So, this is very important for today, especially mostly today, lalong-lalo na marami tayong ngayong pandemic, and most of all, the very important of using the healthcare services, and then the hospitals, and then marami nga tayong nasusunog yan ng mga hospital. So we gather from our, based from our investigations, that electrical must be very important, especially for today. So ngayon pa lang, sinasabi na namin sa Electrical Safety Committee to review, and the Electrical Safety Committee conducting an audit on the hospitals. So nag-ano kami ngayon, nag-ano sila na project. Especially, lalong-lalo na sa ngayon na seasonal yung topic about dito sa design ng mga hospital natin. Kasi on the past, hindi naman tayo nakakaranas nito mga pandemic, pero kung titingnan natin, ang demand factor ba sa ngayon is very applicable pagdating dito sa mga hospital natin, especially sa mga houses during the pandemic, na kung saan pina-allowed na natin itong pag-work from home. So tinitingnan natin, allowed pa ba ito mga demand factor o kailangan natin mag-adjust? Kasi especially today, yung mga hospital natin, dati hindi naman siya 24 hours ginagamit. But due to pandemic, hindi lang 24 hours, kundi talagang porsigido dahil sa maraming mga pasyente at maraming mga ginagamit na mga ventilator. So I think siguro sa Electrical Safety Committee, lalong-lalo na si Sir Paul Yonsio, sinasabi sa amin yan na need talaga ma-review itong mga safety dito sa mga existing hospital, and especially to the yung mga gagawin pa nating mga hospital someday. So my discussion for today will about the Electrical Safety Committee. So our objectives is that, number one, to share to the participants the different electrical safety tips, which is useful to avoid accidents related to electrical and fire problems. And another objective is to raise awareness with the public of importance of electrical safety at home, school, office, and workplace, and to emphasize the significance of the Philippine Electrical Code and other regulation compliances. So safety is that ano ba talaga itong sinasabi nating safety? It is the state of being safe and the condition of being protected from harm and other non-desirable outcomes. It's simply in our home. Safe means our family to become safe. Background there. So electricity is an essential part of our daily life, especially today that we are facing the pandemic in hospitals. Okay? No nation can survive the present developmental challenges without electric power. Electric power should not only be available, reliable, and affordable, but above all, safe is a very important matter. Sabi nga natin, safe is always a priority. Sa construction man yan, sa workplace man yan, or in our home, or in any other places, a safe is always a priority. And one of the primary advocacies of the IIEE is the electrical safety. That is why nagkaroon tayo ng Electrical Safety Committee. Electrical fire causes. So, andito na papasok yan. So, madalas dati marinig natin faulty electrical wiring, and we are very sorry for that. And talagang generalize kasi yung paggamit kung ano yung pinaka-causes. Sometimes, pag hindi na talaga alam, so napakadaling sabihin na electrical causes were. But as of today, during my time, and especially the time of our regional director, Chief Superintendent Dulot, and me, I did not accept the faulty electrical wiring report in the BFP National Capital Region. But instead, we are using the NFA 921, to which it stated that mostly electrical fire incident is coming from the resistance heating, overloading, arcing, sparking, high resistance faults. So medyo detalyado lang yung nito, ang pag-discuss, but basically this electrical will causes what we call ignitions. It may be the sources of ignitions, and that ignitions is that coming from the different type, which is the resistance heating, the overloading, the arcing, sparking, high resistance faults, which is the line to ground faults or line to line faults. Yeah. So that will be the different types of ignitions to which it will cause a fire. So inalis na natin yung faulty electrical wiring. Electrical safety should be a primary concern of all electrical practitioners and the whole community. The need for regular electrical inspection of all workplaces and residences. So PAC, which is the 2017 editions, the latest editions which was being enacted by the PRC and the IEE during the 2017. So this code contains the provisions which are considered necessary for safety and thus are used as basis for the legal enforcement agency in the government regarding electrical installations. And then these are the following keys to electrical safety. The purpose of the Philippine Electrical Code, Article 1011, the primary objective is to establish the basic materials, quality, and electrical works standards for the safe use of electricity for light, the heat, the power, the communication, signaling, and other purposes. Practicing of safeguarding of persons and property from hazards arising from the use of electricity. Now, compliance with the Philippine Electrical Code to the PEC will ensure safety and prevent electrical fires. So the Philippine Electrical Code is used nationally as the basis for safeguarding persons, the buildings, and its contents from the hazards that may arise from the use of electricity. And this code contains the provisions which are considered necessary for safety and thus are used as a basis for the legal enforcement agency in the government regarding the electrical installations. And we have the Republic Act 7920, to which Act providing for a more responsive, the comprehensive regulations for the practice, licensing, the regulation of electrical engineers, and then the electricians. And the May, especially today, which is a part of this month, which is a May, is an electrical safety month. It was enacted on June 2017, 2011 by no other than the President Aquino. He's signing the Presidential Proclamation number 193, in which it declares that the month of May of every year as the electrical safety month. So, ano tong electrical safety in order to save? The electrical safety was enacted because they aims to save, number one, the lives, to the property, the economic losses, and doing so, what would be the strategy? The strategy is that we would like to educate, to promote the awareness to the public. And then, so we will discuss about the main types of electrical injuries. Ano tong mga sinasabi natin? So meron tayong acronym na ginagamit, which is Be Safe. So B stands for the burns, E for electrocution, S for shock, A for arc flash or arc blast, F for fire, and then the explosion. So ito yung mga nangyayari kapag yung electricity natin is hindi natin ginawa in correct manner. So hindi tayo sumunod sa Philippine Electrical Code, sa Part Code of the Philippines. These are the main types that will be electrical injuries. So tandaan natin, be safe, burns, electrocution, shock, arc flash, arc blast, fire, explosion. So we will define. So the burn, it is the most common shock-related injury. Then there is a 3 types of electrical burns, which is the electrical, the arc flash, and then the thermal contact. Electrocution is a fatal, meaning to kill the electrical shock results when a human is exposed to a lethal amount of electrical energy. So yan. Yan sa part pa niya is shock, which is the body becomes part of electrical circuit, reflex response to passage of electricity current through the body. And then the arc flash, sabi niya sa definition in arc blast, it is a sudden release of electrical energy through air when a high voltage gap exists and there is a breakdown between the conductors. So maraming mga halimbawa kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng arc flash at arc blast, but it will be discussed more on by the next speaker. So it gives off thermal radiation, heat and bright, intense light that can cause burns, the temperatures which is as high as 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So ganyan siya kalala. And then the arc blast is the high voltage arcs can produce considerable pressure waves by rapidly heating the air and creating a blast. And then the next electrical hazard is the fire. Most result from problems with fixed wiring. So problems with cords, with plugs, sa receptacles, switches, which also causes an electrical fire. The next electrical hazard is discusses about the explosions. It occurs when electricity ignites, explosive mixtures of materials in the air, So especially dito sa mga tinatawag natin na confined spaces, kung halimbawa nagkakaroon doon sa part ng confined spaces ng pagbibintura, and then they use their paints which is the flammable, and there is no sufficient ventilation, and suddenly there is an electrical hazard, then explosion is possibility to occur. So electrical shock. So paano ba nangyayari itong electrical shock niya? So it receives when current passes through the body. So nahawakan niya yung isang line and then nakadikit siya dito sa ground metal, there is a sudden current, flow of current in the body. So severity of the shock will depends on number one. So yung kasibir, kung gaano siya kalala, nakadepende by means of path of current through the body, the amount of current flowing through the body, the length of time the body is in the circuit. So meron tayong formula for computations based on the energy, yung energy na nagpass sa kanya. Okay? So low voltage does not mean low hazard. So contact with energized sources, the major hazards, yan. So severity and effects of electrical shocks depend on the number of factors. The pathway, amount of current, length of time, and then kung pwede if this in a water, because the water is a great conductor. It allows current to flow more easily in wet conditions and through the wet skin. So, andito yung possibility at ang mga possible na mangyari sa katawan. Below 1 milliampere, generally not perceivable. So, below 1 milliampere. And 1 milliampere is faint, tingle. 5 milliampere, slight shock. Felt, not painful, but disturbing. So, average individual can let go. Strong involuntary reactions can lead to the injuries. From 6 to 25 milliamperes, so ito yung possible na mangyari. Painful shock. So magkakaroon ka ng painful shock. Loss of muscular control. So from 90 to 30 milliamperes sa lalaki, okay? So the freezing current or let go range, individual cannot let go but can be thrown away from the circuit if exterior muscles are stimulated. From 50 to 150 milliamperes, extreme pain. So dito na papasok yung respiratory arrest. So severe muscular contraction, death is possible. So 50 to 150 milliamperes. How about pag mga 1,000? 1,000 milliamperes equivalent to 1 ampere, right? So pagka mga 1,000 to 4,300 milliamperes, nandito na yung papasok si rhythmic pumping action of the heart ceases, muscular contraction, and nerve damage occur. So from 50 to 150 milliampere pataas, mas malaki na yung possibility na death is possible. So, okay. Resistance of the body. Okay, so andito yung figure na nagpapakita. So from 1, kung meron tayong ground fault circuit interrupter, this is a very important, ito yung napaka-importante na gamit, especially in construction or sa mga bahay, yung GFCI. Kasi 5 milliampere pa lang nagtitrip na siya. So para pag tumaas pa, hindi na mas gaano yung epekto nito sa tao. So mas mabilis niya lalabanan. So ground fault circuit interrupter is very important na gagamitin, especially sa mga outdoor spaces to which the Philippine Electrical Code submitted. Yan yung provision niya sa mga kusina, sa kitchen, sa bathroom. That a particular area is must be a ground fault circuit interrupter. So mapapansin natin dito sa human resistance values condition, kung meron siyang sa mga part ng tao niya, so ito yung mga resistance in ohms, dry and wet. So from dry, 40,000 to 1 million finger touch. Pero pag wet, mas bumababa yung resistance, which is 4,000 to 15,000 na lamang. Ibig sabihin, pag wet, mas magiging conductor yung katawan ng tao. Kaya mapapansin natin this data, habang yan ay wet, sa mga parts niya like finger, hand, palm, mas mababa talaga yung kanyang resistance. In other words, our body must be in a highly conductor. Fatal durations for, tingnan natin in data C. In 0.2 seconds na nakahawak tayo. So for a 50 kilograms man or woman, ang papasok sa kanya ay 259 milliampere. So 259 milliampere is andito na siya sa possible sa
heart stops beating to a breathing stops. In 0.2 seconds lang. Okay? In 1 second, so 116 milliampere. Yan. So mas ano siya. 116 is andun pa rin siya sa heart stops beats. So type of electrical hazards, we have the damage or bare wires. Fault current may travel through a body which cause electrical burns or death if power supply is not grounded. Extreme conditions and rough treatment can change electrical equipment from safe to hazardous. Yan yung mga defective equipment or tools. So napakadelikado niyan, especially to construction site. Improper repairs, examples of incidents. Halimbawa, ballast strap not replaced after repair, electrocution of 11 years old boy, cutting of bleed resistor and capacitor which causes a 370 volt shock, removing and leaving of terminal insulator on capacitor which causes a 440 volt shock. Improper use by using extension flexible cords. So walang care, the connection and then the capacity. Capacity affected by the size of wires. 14 gauge which is a 15 amps, 12 gauge which is a 20 amps, and then the length of cords, UL tag capacity. In general, any cord over 100 feet, it requires one size larger cord. Diba? Gumagamit ka ng gauge 14, so if it is 100 feet, so magagamit tayo ng number 12, which is one size higher or larger. Okay. So power strips. Power strips can be overloaded because of the multiple plug arrangement. Most have overload protection but often malfunction causing fire. Use fixed wiring when possible. Ito yung mga kadalasan ginagamit sa bahay. Itong mga tinatawag natin ng mga power strips. Portable heaters and appliances, manufacturer's recommendations not followed. So do not plug into a power strip, which it will causes an overloads and fires. So hindi niya sinunod itong nasa likuran or what we call the manufacturer recommendations. Do not cover high temperatures. Keep electrical cords, drapes, and other furnishing at least 3 feet. Napakalapit niya dito sa mga combustible or 0.9 meter from the point and the top of the heater and away from the sides and rear. Maintain safe distances from overhead power lines. So staying away, following the table shows the safe power line clearances distance for various line voltages. Ito yung mga nasa NEPA 70 and National Electrical Code, but in a Philippine Electrical Code, so i-convert lang natin into meter. If you are working from 50 to 200 volts, there must be a 15 feet. And then for 1,000 volts, established by the power lines in a Philippine Electrical Code, so gamitin natin yan. Over 200 to 350 volts, 20 feet away. So we must follow the minimum clearance distances depends to the voltage or nominal kilovolts and alternating current. So last is mga last year yata yun, meron tayong napabalita na isang bata na kuryente. So nagsaksak siya ngayon dun sa isang saksakan. Sinaksak niya yung gamit yata yung kutsara kaya siya na kuryente. So kasi under sa Philippine Electrical Code natin, Article 4.6.1, 4.6.1.12, dapat sa bahay ay meron tinatawag na tamper-resistant receptacles or TRR in dwelling unit. This is required by the National Electrical Code as well as in the Philippine Electrical Code. So ano ba itong tamper-resistant receptacle? So mapapansin nyo dito sa left side diagram, pag sinaksakan mo siya ng isang bagay dyan sa isang part, hindi yan magbubukas. So, hindi matutuloy may tutusok ng bata. Okay. Sabi dito, insertion of an object in any one side does not open the shutter, but a two-bladed plug compress the spring and simultaneously open both shutters. So, kung pareho lang yan sa saksa, yung dalawang shutter, dun lang siya bubukas kasi merong spring. As you can see here in the right side na images. So pagka isa lang, sinaksak ng bata, so hindi siya makukuryente. Pero pag yan ay dalawa, merong 2 prongs or meron pang 3, which is one of the line is the grounded wire. So mas maganda, mas better. In which the Electrical Safety Committee says that a 3-prong must be implemented Although the line-to-line or line-to-ground, the two-prong are acknowledged by the Philippine Electrical Code, but as much as possible safety is concerned, we must put the having a ground, which is the three prongs, yung sa convenience outlet. So use ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI, which is designed to protect people from electrical shock. It detects ground faults and interrupts electric current and limits the duration of electrical shock. There are three types of GFCI. Receptacle GFCI, the temporary portable GFCI, yung circuit breaker na GFCI. So may ginagamit tayo minsan ng mga ground fault circuit interrupter sa breaker na mismo. Meron din namang direktang sa outlet. So syempre, pag outlet yung ginawa nating GFCI, mas mahal talagang kasi lahat ng outlet mo lalagyan natin ng GFCI, mas mahal. So ang iba ginagawa, sa breaker na lang, yung breaker nila must be a ground fault circuit interrupter. So basta napaka-importante dito is that we could install the ground fault circuit interrupter in our home. Now, electrical protection. So inspect portable tools and extension cords that workers need to inspect extension cords prior to their use for any cuts or abrasion. So electric hand tools that are old, damaged, or misused may have damaged insulation inside. So use power tools and equipment as designed. Follow the tools safety tips to avoid misusing equipment. We follow the manufacturer's instruction. And then here is the example of the misuse equipment. So yan, dito sa first part, kung makikita mo, yan, terminated lang, so gamit lang splicing, and dito naman pinako niya sa gitna. At saka itong isang part, tinanggal niya yung sa grounding lines. So dating 3 siya, 3 prongs, ngayon ginawa na lang 2. Para magsaksak. Kasi nga yung convenience outlet na is not available, which is dalawa lang. The LOTO, or what we call the lockout and tag-out procedure must be a very important as far as the Philippine Electrical Code and National Electrical Code is concerned. So basically, lockout and tag-out is that it is essential safety procedure and it protects workers from injury while working on or near electrical circuits and equipment. It prevents contact with operating equipments, parts such as the blades, the gears, the shafts, and etc. Napaka-importante nitong lockout and tag-out. So, lockout, tag-out, it prevents the unexpected release of hazardous gases, the fluids or solids, and matters in areas where workers are present. And the next that we have to discuss is about the Electrical Safety Committee audit. So napakahalaga nitong audit na to, especially when we are dealing with the Electrical Safety Committee, especially today that the most of the hospitals are getting involved in an electrical fire. So why? Because there must be poor electrical maintenance. Kasi sabi nga natin, hindi naman forever yung pagkaka-design natin dyan or yung electrical equipment natin, but it's must see to it that it must be in a good working conditions and it must be inspected, maintained, and tested according to their use and design. So an official inspection of an individual's or organization account typically by a qualified and competent independent body. So an electrical inspection and audit is a thorough survey, inspection, review, and evaluation of an electrical system which is already in operation for several years and or a newly completed electrical installation turned over by the electrical contractor. So the purpose of an electrical safety inspection or audit is, number 1, to identify the potentially hazardous electrical situations and provide the immediate corrective actions for the situations. Hindi lang aalamin, hindi lang i-identify yung mga potential hazardous na dala nitong electrical natin, but at the same time, it must be immediate corrective actions. So electrical safety audit is is a formal and a comprehensive examinations of the entire facilities of a particular building, sa establishment, sa plants, and a house. So it is a systematic procedures to evaluate the potential electrical hazards and to recommend the measures to minimize and prevent these hazards. Example, electrical shocks, electrical arcs, and then the electrical blast. This goal is to prevent the loss program. Electrical safety audit is a loss prevention program for a property, production loss, for a loss of life, injuries to personnel, and observations can be classified into 6 major areas. Number 1, the design features, sa construction and installations, and maintenance aspects, the training needs, the facilities and procedures, the management commitment, and then recommendations as identified in the audit should be implemented on a time-bound program, and it should be closely monitored for a timely completion. So for those buildings, electrical audit is usually conducted immediately upon turnover of a project to the owner, but not more than 1 year after. However, the plant audit can be conducted as required by the management technical personnel. So purpose, to assure that every single installation and device installed are done in accordance with the latest editions of the Philippine Electrical Code, the National Building Code, the Fire Code, and other implementing rules from the local government or from the national government. So compliance with regulations will increase levels of safety. It more efficient use of resources. It clarifies of electrical safety responsibilities and who are qualified to conduct the electrical inspection audit. So licensed electrical engineers with vast experience in design and construction and maintenance, and should be conducted by the licensed professional electrical engineer and or the registered electrical engineer. So conducting audit with the proper signs and barriers. So dapat meron tayong mga proper signage conducting the safety audit. Use of personal protective equipment and the proper tools when conducting the audit is very important. Yeah. Use of personal protective equipment, tools natin. And what's wrong with this picture? Okay. So ito yung mali. Kung mapapansin natin dito sa kabilang part, nagsusukat siya ng line to ground. Okay. Pero dito sa kabila naman, gamit siya ng PPE, which is the correct way to verify. But this one, so hindi siya nakagamit ng PPE in the left side. So what are the samples of electrical violations or errors that you should be mindful or when you do your electrical audit inspections? Okay. Ito yung kadalasan na papansin natin pag mag-conduct tayo ng audit tsaka sa inspections. Now, this single diagram is that indicating that the use breaker is a 100 ampere trip breaker. And the wire use is an 8.0 square millimeter THHN. So, ang mangyayari dyan, ang ampacity kasi nitong 8.0 is nasa 50 ampere trip kasi THHN siya. Kung THW siya or TW is 40 lang. Kaya lang, mag-overload na to pagka gumamit tayo, hindi pa magta-trip yung breaker niya kasi mas mataas yung rating ng breaker as compared to the load, to the wiring system. In which case, ang pinaka-design talaga ng breaker natin or yung pinaka-function niya is to protect the branch circuit wirings and its appliances or connected appliances. But they cannot protect from overloading kasi nga mas mataas yung rating niya. So, isa ito sa mga nakikita natin, and especially during my time when I was conducting an electrical inspections, pagka mga fire safety inspection, mas makikita talaga natin yan. Pero ang problem dyan is it necessary on the problem occur during the kung bago pa lang yan nakakabit, kung bago pa lang yung building, Sometimes hindi kasi sa maintenance nakikita din natin eh. Especially kung yung nagpapalit niya na hindi knowledgeable, hindi electrical practitioner. So dating pinalitan kasi nagtitrip na madalas yung breaker, dati siyang 20, sasabihin palitan natin ng 40. So tinataasan para hindi na mag-trip. So ito madalas talaga natin makita yan at kadalasan yan error is nasa maintenance. Nasa maintenance, especially if the management is not fully aware the electrical safety. The next one is that another case of using very high rating of protection. The IIE Electrical Safety Committee, ISEA volunteer team in 2012 replaced it with 100 ampere tube. So as inspected in 2011, the size of this service entrance feeder is 214 square millimeter in a PVC conduit so that the allowable ampacity is 70 amperes. But the protection is 200 ampere fuse. Okay? So pareho lang yan ito na diniscuss kanina na ang 14 square millimeter natin, hindi pa rin siya mapoprotektan from overload kasi nga mas mataas yung fuse na nilagay which is a 200 ampere fuses. What would be the maximum grounding resistance? Is it 25 ohms? 1 ohms? Or how many ohms? The lower the value, the safer. So why? Ground fault current seeks the path of a lower resistance. Not using the three prongs sa convenience outlet. So ito yung isa, not acceptable na siya, not using grounding type in convenience outlet. Yung isa naman is acceptable, which is having a ground. Signifying na yung gagamitin natin sa mga residentials, sa mga bahay, sa mga parts is having a grounding system. From panel board, weatherproof convenience outlet. So not using GFCI device for circuits in damp locations or exterior areas. So junctions or utility boxes, embedded conduits. So improper splices, violation. Between, nagkaroon siya ng improper splices. Possible loose connection in the splices to burn the plastic rubber tape insulation and cause eventual short circuit. Especially kapag nasa outdoor yan, sometimes kasi pinapasok yan ng mga kaibigan natin ng mga langgam, ayop. So yung mga pinilalagay natin dyan ng mga splices ay nagkakaroon. So improper splices yan between the junction boxes. These inappropriately poorly spliced wires inside a badly burned flexible PVC conduit. The electrical supervisor or foreman missed this. Lack of supervision during the construction. Temporary wiring allowed to become a temporary permanent. Okay. So the flying wire cables, which include power and communication lines, are installed temporarily until an untoward incident happen. Aggravating matters, accidents. So pag temporary, it cannot be used to be a permanent. Okay. So PEC violations, installation outside the building exposed to rain and dust shall be in NEMA 3R or 4R. So NEMA 3 is okay na dyan. Sa rain tight, NEMA 3R. NEMA 3R panel enclosure should be closed kasi nasa labas siya eh. Lack of safety sense. Okay. Notice the service entrance wire, no entrance cap. So dito na part, there is no entrance cap dyan sa may pula na yan. Or drip loop. This allows water to enter conduit and may even reach panel board inside, and it will cause damage or ground fault. There is also no ground wire. So marami po kaming fire incident na yan ang kadalasan nangyari. Kasi nga yung drip loop na yon, yan yung protection para hindi pasukin siya ng hangin. But dyan, kung mapapansin natin, is pinapasok yan ng tubig until such time na mapuno siya. And ang nangyayari doon sa conduit na yon, there is a possibility na yung insulation niya is mag-breakdown. O kaya yung kung siya itatagal ng mahabang panahon, so napapaikli niya yung buhay nito mga insulation. At lumulutong yan sa pagka naandyan sa loob ng wire at pinapasok nito mga tubig. Lack of safety sense. Notice the service entrance wire, no entrance cap or drill loop. This allows water to enter, conduct, and may even reach panel board inside, cause damage or ground fault, and there is also no ground wires. Splicing inside the panel board enclosure. The PEC does not allow splicing inside the panel board enclosure. Regular cleaning required. The cable terminations are violations. So paralleling of wires less than 50 square millimeter, it's not allowed by the Philippine Electrical Code. And color coding of wire must be followed. Transformer pad, no danger sign. High voltage, so wala nang ganyan. Danger, high voltage, or electrical short hazard. Same phase wires in conduit. Same phase wires in conduit. That is very dangerous. So nawawala yung safety. No? Kasi nga, nagkakaroon dyan ng tinatawag natin ng mga currents or eddy currents. Nagiinit yan mga pipes na, especially kung ginamit natin dyan ay mga iron pipe o GI pipe. Dissimilar bus bar sizes. Okay, so magkaiba yung mga bus bar sizes. Bus bar tapping without protection. Parallel wire smaller than 50 square millimeter. Violation. Okay, branch feeder wires without cover, inappropriate lock nut and bushing to protect the wires from direct contact with the enclosure. Code violation. Not within approved clearances. That is a code violation. Wires are too close to windows, electrical hazard, and issues. Especially kung gagawin nating fire exit yan, meron tayong tinatawag na 10-feet rule. Yung mga electrical hazards natin from the window, if it is used as a secondary fire exit, they must be at 10 feet away. So panel enclosure used as splice and pull boxes and terminal points. Bus bars and terminal slugs too near each other. Yun, malapit na magdikitan. Panel boards covered by cabinets. So this is a PEC violations kasi sabi natin panel board shall be accessible and readily and capable of being reached without having to climb, without obstruction to enter inside the electrical room. Disconnecting means panel board shall be readily accessible. So PEC violation. GFCI or ground fault circuit interrupter for personnel required for wet location or installation outside of the building. Sabi natin, pagdating sa mga comfort room, sa mga kitchen or outdoor, sa mga garage, dapat natin gagamitin dyan ay ground fault circuit interrupter types. Outlet, yun. Required NEMA 3 or 4R enclosures and WP outlets. So napakagaling ng gumawa nito. So yan, naging rain tight siya kasi nilagyan ng plastic. So hindi siya equivalent. So kadalasan minsan yung pagiging malikhain ay napupunta sa pagkakaroon ng tinatawag natin na napiperwisyo yung pagkakaroon ng safety. Okay. So this one. Sabi natin itong mga pipes natin is to protect the wires, especially the insulation. So nagkaroon siya ngayon ng hindi niya naprotektan itong part ng wire na to. Okay. So part tragedies, when will we learn? So the part tragedies. 95% of faults are line to ground fault. This is based on the Electrical Safety Committee. Effective ground fault path is the backbone of electrical safety. In the grounding electrodes, especially number 1, the metal underground water pipe, the metal frame of the building, concrete encased electrode, the ground ring, the rod and pipe electrodes, the plate electrodes, and other local metal underground system. Ozone disco. Ozone disco is happens in Quezon City, which is on March 1996. And then the cause of fire is the electrical malfunction. Casualties, 162 persons. Injured is 100 persons. More or less, in this estimated damages is 15 million. So report, an accident in Barangay Bacundao East, Malisakit sa Pangasinan naman ito. This is the main service entrance wire of the house where the Senpelco lineman cut the live wire to stop the line current inside the house. And this is the extension cord outlet where the electrocution started. Notice that the GI wire, which was accidentally inserted into the plug of the CP battery charger. These are the victims laying helplessly. Notice the house wall have no plaster finish, forcing them to use extension cords. Tap at their main switch. So close-up pictures with the victims. Notice the GI wire, which they all hold that caused electrocution to all them, which was accidentally inserted to the plug. Okay, so yan yung mga victims. So lahat sila napakarami na kuryente. Okay, so take electricity seriously. Electricity is the second leading cause of death in construction. Electrocution make up to 12% construction fatalities annually, over 30,000 non-fatal shocks occur each year, and over 600 deaths occur annually due to electrocution. We have the 10 golden rules of electrical safety. Number 1, to comply with all the applicable industry technical standards in the design, installation, operation, and electrical system. Number 2, treat all electrical system as energized. If there is work to be done or in any part of the electrical system, isolate it from the power source and install an appropriate tag. Pangatlo, ensure that electrical equipment are properly guarded and appropriately grounded. Pang-apat, install protective devices that are properly rated, set, and coordinated to automatically isolate faulted parts of the system. Panglima, consult and engage the services of the PRC licensed electrical practitioners, the PEE, the REE, and then the RME. Ensure that all electrical equipment are correctly labeled. Conductors are properly colored-coded diagrams and are always available, and safety signages are highly visible. Regularly monitor loading of electrical system components to ensure they are within their rated capacities and upgrade immediately if necessary. And pangwalo is periodically inspect and maintain electrical system and equipment. Siyam is wear the appropriate PPE and use proper tools when conducting the electrical works. And the last is to provide a disconnecting means for local and manual isolation of electrical equipment and during the emergencies. So be electrically safe, not sorry, and electrical safety, it starts with us. Engineering without safety is a failure. That's all. Thank you very much and good morning.
Ayan. Thank you very much, Engineer RGJ Baniel. So we would like to remind our resource speaker, no? If you hear the sound, ayan, narinig po ba yung sound na yun? That is your reminder that you only have 5 minutes left for you to wrap up your presentation, for us to have time as well for the Q&A and for the awarding of the Certificate of Appreciation. So now, we would like to call on, we will proceed to our question and answer. The first question is, how can we request for an independent electrical audit? So, Sir RG, can you answer this question, please?
Now, as of now, the electrical safety committees is this is a part of the IIE, which is intentions to number 1, gumawa ng mga policy regarding sa electrical safety committee. So if it is, I think, in a private, so gusto nila magpakaroon ng audit, they must, sabi ko nga kanina, so pwede sila mag-seek nito mga professional sa private practitioners natin, which is the professional electrical engineer, registered electrical engineer, or the master electricians in a private capacities. But itong electrical safety committee natin, kasi nagkaroon ng isang parang, nagkaroon siya ng tinatawag natin ng programa, especially nowadays that most of the time, karamihan sa mga sunog natin ay itong mga hospital natin. So, sabi nga namin doon sa napag-usapan, sino pa ba yung mag-audit niyan, kundi tulungan na lang natin, especially if it is a government, that we all know that deputies and government talagang lack of funds sometimes, especially in preventive maintenance. So need na nila ng tulong. Hindi pa man sila nagre-request sa atin, but basically yung Electrical Safety Committee is very eager na makatulong. But if it is a private, so they should have to see to it secure the electrical private practitioners para makapag-conduct sa kanya ng electrical safety audit. Now, when it comes to how frequently, kung paano yung mga pag-audit natin ng mga electrical system, we are using the Philippine Electrical Code, and then doon naman sa NFA 70 E yata, E or B, nakalagay kasi doon yung yung mga may monthly, may weekly, may quarterly. So they may follow o pwede nilang sundin yun. Okay?
Thank you very much once again, Engineer RJ Banyel. And to award the Certificate of Appreciation, let me read the citation. This Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Engineer RJ Banyel for imparting his knowledge and expertise as resource speaker on the topic Fire and Electrical Safety during the first National Electrical Enthusiast Summit via Zoom given this 22nd day of May 2021. Thank you very much once again, Engineer RJ Banyel.
Thank you.
All right, for us to proceed to our next topic, let me introduce the resource speaker. He is the Technical Engineer Business Development from Topsdodge Philippines Energy Products Corporation. Let us all welcome Engineer Reginald M. Villaruel for the topic Fundamentals of Electrical Wiring and Innovative Product Solution. Hello, Sir Reginald, are you there?
Yes, hello. Good morning,
sir.
everyone. So can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so good morning again. So first, I would like to express my gratitude for thanking IIEE for having us as one of their sponsor for this event, and especially first time event to, no, for the electricians enthusiasts. And also, I would like to commend IIEE for conducting this event despite of the pandemic, na especially it is an electrical safety month awareness, so we celebrate that. And yung presentation ko is related to that as well. And I would like to express my gratitude then to my colleagues for being here supporting our company, who is Miss Ken and Gibo, who is part of our sales team. So if you have any queries or clarifications with regards to our products or the prices of our products, you may contact them as well. So okay. And for the better stability of my internet connection, I think it's best to turn off my camera during my presentation para lang hindi tayo magkaroon ng interruption while I'm presenting. And if you have any questions, I can answer it if we still have time, or put it in the Q&A. So pwede ko ring sagutin doon kung wala nang time. Okay? So thank you. So my presentation is entitled Fundamentals of Electrical Wiring and Innovative Product Solutions. So the topic outline would be basic wire construction, yung types of building wires as well, and yung mga related sa electrical wires and cable na nakalagay sa Philippine Electrical Code 2017 version, and how can we protect the consumers or even us as an electrical practitioners. And also yung how to tell fake wires. So syempre meron kasing sa market na hindi natin maiiwasan na may namemeki pa rin po ng wires. And also our value engineering solutions pertaining to the innovative product solutions that Phelps-Dodge offers is the PD Alumilite and the metal clad cable. And also we are going to discuss the common installation mistakes, such as yung poor installation practices na nakikita namin, and then yung mga pwede na yan attitude na nakikita rin namin during the installation. And also the opposite of that would be the kayang-kaya model installation. So titignan natin yung mga proper installation as well. And also, if we have time, allow me to present also the PDP other products and the PD Engage. Okay, so let's start. So let's start this presentation by stating the fact according to Bureau of Fire Protection. So as mentioned kanina discuss din to ni Sir, so ang pinaka main cause is electrical in nature yung sunog dito sa Pilipinas. So dito nga pumapasok yung mga overloading, yan yung short circuit, yan nga yung mga arcing and all. So imagine another gruesome fact from BFP is every year, more than 200 Filipino die in fires and an average of 800 more injured. And 1,000 more suffer as families lose their properties valuables amounting to more than 4.65 billion a year. So imagine from that amount, 4.65 billion a year, one of the main cause of fire is electrical in nature. So we have to be knowledgeable and enough as an electrical practitioners in different aspects that involves electricity. So we have here the electrical fire domino effect. So as an electrical practitioners, we know na nagsisimula ang isang project natin sa designing, and then we have the selection of material, and then the installation, the maintenance. But what if isa dito ang mag-fail? So paano kung sa selection of material nagkaroon tayo ng pagkakamali na magli-lead din eventually sa fire? So yun muna yung i-discuss natin. So how do we choose our wire ba as an electrical practitioner? So first, it should provide safety. Sa paanong paraan? So dapat alam natin na yung mga wires and cable na yun ay sumusunod sa mga different reference standard, both locally and internationally standards. So ano-ano yung mga yun? Mamaya ipapakita ko rin sa inyo. So dapat bukod doon is hindi nila binabago based dun sa reference standard na pagkukunan nila yung mga insulation thickness, yung number of strands ng conductor, and yung mga jacket thickness if ever meron din as well. So dapat yung mga materials pa lang is tama na yung quality. Then durable and long lasting. So sa Tagalog, matibay at pangmatagalan. So paano ba yon? So example po, bumili tayo ng bag sa Divisoria worth 150 pesos. Tingin nyo gano'n siya katagal maglalas. So alam naman natin, depende din yung sa bigat na nilalagay natin. So ganun din po sa wires and cable. So nakadepende rin sa load na requirement natin, and dapat matibay yung mga materials na nandun, such as yung conductor, yung insulation, and yung jacket. So dito, hindi dapat nagva-vary yung price. So dapat titignan natin yung quality niya and yung tibay niya, at alam naman natin that quality comes with the price. So yun dapat yung tatandaan natin. And then consistently high quality. So paano ba? So dapat as a manufacturer here in the Philippines, meron kaming mga testing na tinatawag or quality assurance testing. So that makikita natin sa raw materials pa lang if pasok na siya dun sa reference standard na ginamit natin, tsaka natin siya i-construct as a whole or as a complete wire or complete cable. So yun yung kahalagahan ng consistent, when we say consistently high quality. So mula dapat sa raw materials until finished product, tinitest yan ng mga manufacturers. And lastly, a brand that you can trust. So sa mga hindi nakakaalam, Phelps Dodge Philippines was established in 1955. So imagine, it's been manufacturing electrical wires and cable for over 60 years now. So hindi naman tatagal ang isang kumpanya ng ganong katagal kung hindi sila mapagkakatiwalaan at hindi sila nagpro-provide ng quality products. So that is Phelps Dodge Philippines. So let's start then by the basic wire construction. So I use THHN or THWN as a reference for this basic wire construction. So first, it consists of conductor, and then insulation, and lastly yung jacket. So ang conductor natin, it is usually made of copper or aluminum. So hindi natin siya pwedeng pagsamahin. Bakit? As you can see in the picture, it would cause corrosion, yung tinatawag natin na corrosion. So meaning, magpupulbo siya eventually kapag minix natin yung copper or aluminum. So hindi natin gagawin dapat yan. So kasi yung weaker metal, which is yung aluminum, unti-unting sinasakop ng copper metal. Kaya po ganyan yung nangyayari, which hindi natin masosuffice yung load na requirement natin. So hindi natin siya pwedeng pagsamahin. Pwede tayong gumamit ng copper or ng aluminum pero magkahiwalay na construction. Hindi pwedeng pagsamahin as a one construction. Next is yung conductor, ang purpose niyan is doon dumadalo yung current. So nakadepende rin yung number of loads or yung amperes sa size na gagamitin natin. So ipapakita ko rin po yung table na yan sa inyo later on. So ano yung advantage nung solid or stranded? Kasi may dalawang tinatawag dyan na conductor. Solid conductor and stranded conductor. So sa solid conductor, hindi siya ganun flexible, kaya lower cost siya. So pwede lang natin siyang i-install sa mga simple circuit, hindi sa mga complex. Unlike kay stranded, since it consists at least 7 strands, so kung may makikita kayong 6 strands or lesser than that, mali po yun. So it consists at least 7 strands based on the Philippine Electrical Code and Philippine National Standards as well. Ayun, and ang maximum is 61 strands for the 500 mm squared. Oh, so ito mas flexible siya kasi nagko-consist nga siya ng maliliit na strands compared dun sa solid strand. So pwede natin din siyang install sa conduit with many bends and sa mga complex na circuit natin. So yun yung kinaganda ng stranded conductor versus sa solid conductor. And then we go to the insulation. So eto naririnig ko sa market, ang tawag nila plastic to. Yun yung plastic na kino-cover, which is mali. So yung insulation natin is made of PVC or polyvinyl chloride. So meaning it is a type of plastic but it is a thermoplastic. So meaning it can acquire heat given a sufficient temperature rating. So ito, may mga temperature rating to na pinagkaiba-iba na i-discuss ko din sa inyo mamaya. So doon, nakadepende rin yung ampacity natin dun sa temperature rating na yun. And ayun yung protection natin sa voltage carried by the conductor. So para maprotektahan natin yung conductor, nandiyan si insulation. So if tatanong nyo, available po ba siya ng ibang color? Yes, meron available sa market na black, red, green, yellow, white, and blue. Pero if you're going to ask, meron pa po bang ibang color? Yes, meron pa po. Pwedeng mag-manufacture si Phelps ng ibang color pero made to order po siya. Yun kasi minsan kasi may mga designer na ibang color yung nire-require nila for their color coding. Next is jacket. So ito yung N, which is yung nylon sa THHN or sa THWN. So ang purpose niya is pinoprotect niya yung wire against sa mechanical, sa chemical, and environmental damage. So meaning, let's say magkaroon tayo ng cable pulling, syempre hindi natin maiiwasan magasgas yun lalo na kung may mga debris pa dun sa mga conduit natin or sa cable tray. So kailangan din, linisin din natin yun bago natin i-install yung mga cables natin. So dito, yun nga yung purpose niya, pinoprotect niya. And unlike kasi sa PVC, oil and gas resistant siya. So meaning kapag nilagay natin siya ng pampadulas, hindi siya maa-absorb ni nylon. Unlike kasi si PVC, very sensitive po yan. So kapag nalagyan niya ng moisture or kaya naka-absorb yan ng gas, ng oil, or yung mga pampadulas natin, ma-absorb yan ni PVC and then eventually ma-expose si conductor kasi madadamage sila. Kaya meron tayong nylon kasi it is 5 times tougher. Literal po, mas matigas siya compare sa PVC kasi nga for mechanical protection ang purpose niya. So if you're going to ask as well if nangangat-ngat ba siya ng daga, hindi po. Kung maliliit lang po na daga. Pero kung kasing laki na ng pusa na daga, eventually mangangat-ngat nga yan kasi kasing laki na ng pusa. So yun lang naman. So may mga nagtatanong din, paano po kung ma-damage ng konti si nylon? That wouldn't be a problem. Pero kung makikita nyo as an installer na exposed na si PVC, might as well inform yung mga heads natin na ganito yung nangyari para alam nila na eventually pwedeng ma-damage si PVC. Okay? And then we proceed with the types of building wires. So, ano bang pinagkaiba ng mga to? parang pare-parehas lang naman yung ibig sabihin as you can see on the slide, 'di ba? So parang pare-parehas lang. And then sa NM, ito yung tinatawag sa market na PDX, which is mali kasi PDX is a Phelps Dodge brand exclusively for Phelps Dodge. So ang generic term talaga sa non-metallic is NM, type NM, non-metallic flat jacketed cord. And then we have TF, which is the thermoplastic fixture. And we have SPT, which is stranded, parallel, and thermoplastic. So kung makikita nyo dito sa first 5, ayan, sa first 5 na yan, kung makikita nyo, pare-parehas yung ibig sabihin. Pero ito, high heat resistant, unlike dito sa mga THW, heat resistant lang. Kaya dalawa yung H niya. And then yung HW naman is heat and water resistant. So mamaya, i-discuss ko yan later on kung anong difference niya, which is yung next slide. So ito, we have here the man of evolution theory by Charles Darwin. So we can compare that as well to the evolution of wire. So first, we have TW, and then THW, and then THHN/THWN. And lastly is yung innovative product natin na THHN/THWN-2. So ano yung pinagkaiba ng mga yan? Ayan yung sinabi ko sa inyo na sufficient temperature rating. So sa TW kasi, nagko-consist lang siya ng 60 degrees Celsius. And then sa THW, 75 degrees Celsius. And then sa THHN/THWN, dalawa po. Which is kung makikita nyo sa market na box, ganyan yung labeling. So 75 degrees Celsius lang siya kapag wet location natin siya i-apply. And then 90 degrees Celsius siya kapag dry location. So yan yung difference niya. So dalawa yung magiging temperature rating kung walang -2. Pero kung may THHN/THWN-2 tayo, it can acquire 90 degrees Celsius for both wet and dry location. So we can see the reference later on as per PEC. Yun, makikita natin yung table doon. So ano ba yung kinaganda ng higher temperature rating? So ang kinaganda ng higher temperature rating is the higher the temperature rating, the higher the ampacity. And when we say ampacity, it is the maximum current a conductor can carry. And we can use also the Philippine Electrical Code tables for that as a reference. Okay, so ito yung TW. As I've mentioned, 60 degrees Celsius siya. And usually yung application niya is for machine tool, appliance wire, and then heat resistance and flame retardant din siya. So mamaya may testing tayo na ipapakita with regards to flame retardancy. So makikita nyo kung paano tinitest yung building wires natin na for flame retardant. So as you can see, ang ginamit na reference is Philippine National Standard for Local, which is 35-1. And then THW, 35-1 din siya. And then yung 1207 na yan, ayan yung sinasabi natin na standard for the conductor itself. So wala dyan yung construction, yung conductor characteristics lang natin, which is yung copper. So ito naman, 75 degrees Celsius. So pwede natin siyang gamitin sa cable tray as well, given na as per PEC, 50 mm squared and above. So yung smaller than that, hindi na rin siya pwedeng i-rate as cable tray. Okay? And then yung mga colors, na-mention ko na naman yan kanina kung ano yung available sa market. Pero if ever may request kayo na ibang color, that wouldn't be a problem for us. Okay? And then yung last is yung THHN/THWN-2. So ayun, kagaya siya ng mga ibang building wires natin na heat resistant din siya, flame retardant. Kaya may moisture resistant dyan kasi nandyan na si jacket. No? So ayun. And also, 600 volts yung rated niya, kagaya ng ibang building wires. And ito, 90 degrees Celsius for both wet and dry location. So, as I've mentioned, the higher the temperature rating, the higher the ampacity. So, it can be installed in conduits and cable tray rated as well. Okay? And then we have yung SPT na tinatawag, yung -1, -2, and -3. So, ito naman, nakabase siya sa standard ng Philippine National Standard 163. And then, for flexible pendant siya or portable light duty wire. And then ang voltage rating ito is 300 lang and 60 degrees Celsius. Pero ang ginamit dito is PVC pa din po, polyvinyl chloride. And then ito na yung type TF natin na fixture wire. Nakapasok din siya sa Philippine National Standard 163. and usual siyang ginagamit sa small appliances and lighting fixtures. Pero dito 600 volts yung voltage rating niya, unlike dun sa SPT is 300 volts lang. Pero 60 degrees Celsius lang din yung temperature rating niyan. Okay, so let's discuss the Philippine Electrical Code that is regarding to electrical wiring, no? So first, yung color coding. So kung makikita niyo sa color coding, dito, meron tayong 3-phase 4-wire plus ground. Pero take note na ang nakasaad lang talaga sa PEC is yung sa Article PEC 3.10.3.7, yung conductor identifications, yung grounded conductors kasi is kapag grounded, pwede tayong gumamit ng neutral wire or gray. Pwedeng yun. Neutral white pala, sorry. And then, sa equipment grounding conductors natin, pwede tayong gumamit ng green or yellow-green. Green-yellow pala. So, sa phases na to, ito yung usual na nakikita namin na ginagamit na color coding ng mga designer. Also, nakasaad din yan sa ano natin, sa PEC na depending on the electrical designer specifications. Pero yan yung usual na red, yellow, and blue. Ayan, so yun yung mga common. So kung 2-core plus ground, ang nakikita namin is black, red, plus green. Ganon. So depende pa rin sa designer. And as you can see dito, ito yung adjustment factor natin or yung derating factor natin na gagamitin kapag lumagpas na sa 3 conductors yung requirement natin. So yung ampacity natin, i-multiply pa natin sa 80% if nagko-consist na siya ng 5-core or 4-core. Yan. So ito naman, familiar naman tayo dito as an electrical practitioner. Okay? And then we discuss the ampacity. So ito yun, padadaanan lang natin yung mga tables na nakikita natin sa PEC. So ito yung sa free air. So kung makikita nyo, as I've mentioned, the higher the temperature rating, the higher the ampacity. So meron tayong 60 degrees, 75 and 90 for copper and or kaya aluminum or copper clad. So as nakikita nyo rin sa PEC, magkaiba yung reference nila for the ampacity. Okay? And then ito yung sa raceway, cable, or earth. So ganun din, nakikita nyo na tumataas yung ampacity niya pero nag-iba yung value niya depending nga sa magiging installation natin ng kable. So ayan, for raceway, cable, or earth, or directly buried. And then ito yung mga ambient correction factors niya. And then ito rin yung, ayun yung sinabi ko sa inyo, yung derating factor. Ito yung gagamitin yung table din. Okay, for cable tray, ito rin siya. Yan. So nandito yung mga types. So hindi naman tayo magugulahan or mako-confuse sa PEC kasi naka-indicate naman yung mga types na nandyan. Okay, sa conduit fill naman, ito yung makikita nyo. Dito kasi usually sa conduit fill, paglagpas tayo ng 2, usually ginagamit natin 40% fill. So yun yung kung isa lang naman 53% fill. So yun yung nakasaad din sa PEC. And then ito yung conduit trade size niya. So makikita niyo yung maximum number of compact conductors in IMC. So nandiyan din siya kung ilan, kung ano yung size ng conductor size natin and yung conduit size. So makikita natin dyan. Okay, so let's proceed to how can we protect the consumers. Dito, we have to be familiarized to the different standards for both local and international standards. So we have UL, ISEA, ASTM, IEC, JISBS, PNS, and PEC. So as a technical engineer for Phelps-Dodge Philippines, we design different wires and cables basing in the base in electrical in different standards for both local and international. So diyan po kami nagbabase ng pagde-design namin ng wires and cables. Yung mga thicknesses niya, kung ilan yung number ng strands, yung kung pwede ba siya magdagdag ng additives and all, yung mga UV and all. So diyan kami nagbe-base. Okay? So ito po, okay. Ito yung mga mandatory standard ngayon based sa Bureau of Philippine Standard. So yun yung building wires, yung diniscuss ko, and yung flexible cord. So yun yung TW, THW, THHN, THWN, SPT, TF. So ano ba yung update ngayon sa Philippine National Standard? So sa Philippine National Standard, ngayon ang update namin is we combine PNS 35-1 and 35-2. Kasi sa 35-1, dito yung mga building wires na discuss ko sa inyo kanina. And then yung 35-2, ito yung non-metallic, yung type NM. So eventually, if na-publish na namin yung PNS 35 as a whole, magiging mandatory standard na rin si NM. Pero ngayon, ang mandatory standard is 35-1, yung building wires, and yung PNS 163. So itong 260 and 1207, ito yung mga characteristics or specification for the copper wires or yung copper stranded conductors. So ito yung makikita yung table if ever mag-avail kayo ng PNS. So nandito yung size ng conductor, and then kung ilan yung number of wires, and then yung nominal diameter, yung thickness ng insulation and ng jacket. Makikita nyo dyan yung mga yan. And yung mga testing methods as well na kinoconduct namin for the building wires. So ito din dapat may certification yung mga kukuhanan nyo na brands, no, na dapat may PS mark sila, and then naka-indicate yung mga types and yung sizes. Okay? So titignan nyo rin sa cable or wire marking kung anong type, yung size, yung rated voltage niya, and yung manufacturer's name or trade name. So dapat accurate lahat yan based dun sa binili nyo yung product. Okay, be safe. How to tell fake wires. So dito naman, ang simple steps is look for the seal, weigh the box, and match the color. So ito yung Phelps Dodge way for checking the wires if it's legitimate or fake. So first is look for the seal. So titignan natin yung seal na yan. Ayan yung seal na yan na dapat nandyan siya kapag binili natin yung produkto. So dapat hindi siya broken. And makikita rin dyan yung date. So makikita nyo lahat yan dapat, and dapat walang kulang dyan, kumbaga. Ayan yung mga date. Ayan, so all wires produced in August 2011 and beyond. So mula 2011, dapat meron ng security seals. And do not accept if the seal is broken. So kung makikita niyo sa picture, kapag ganyan yung seal niyo, ibig sabihin na buksan na yung box. And weigh the box. So ito yung mga approximate weight na meron tayo ngayon, which is yung 2.0 is 3.5, yung 3.5 kilo, which is yung 3.5 mm squared is 5.8 kilograms, and then yung 5.5 mm squared is 8.9 kilograms. So we have to be knowledgeable din dun sa mga approximate weight nung size, lalo na kung mga circuit sizes yung i-avail natin. Yan. So yan yung actual weight daw as per size, usually as follows. So sa 2.0, 4 kilograms, and then sa 3.5, 6, and then sa 5.5 is 9. Okay? And then, weigh the box. Weigh the box. So, with that, paano daw kung yung measured weight natin is lesser than the approximate weight? So, it could be undersized or copper-clad aluminum. So, let's start with undersized. So, yung diameter of each strand is lesser dun sa standard size. So, kanina pinakita ko sa inyong table nung PNS 35. So doon po makikita natin yung size ng single strand. So kapag yun, ginagawa nila, ina-undersize nila, binabawasan nila yung diameter ng each strand. So which is hindi makakapag-suffice ng load na kailangan natin. And then yung copper-clad aluminum naman, ito yung 2 or 3 strands are made of aluminum and just coated with copper. So yung pure copper natin, hinaluan ng aluminum pero may coating lang ng copper. So paano natin siya ma-check? Ang first solution is balatan natin and then kiskisin natin. And then ang second solution is tignan natin yung top view. Makikita natin na may silver or white inner portion, merong aluminum na nakahalo doon. So ma-check naman natin siya ng simple. Pero what if naman it is almost equal with the approximate weight? So dito naman papasok yung tinatawag na copper-clad steel. So instead of aluminum, steel yung ginamit nila, nilagyan nila ng coating ng copper, which is very dangerous as well, di ba? So yun po yung, ang gagawin naman dito natin, since steel siya, pwede natin siyang magnetin. Okay, and then, last step is match the color. So meron tayong tinatawag na peepholes. So dito rin para ma-verify natin yung color, kung tama ba yung nakalagay. Ito, let's say red, dapat red yung nakalagay. Yan. So pag yan, kasi nakita nyo na different color yung nakalagay, tapos yung naka-indicate sa box magkaiba, pwedeng pinalitan nila yan. So we have to be mindful with this simple problem. So kailangan maging mindful tayo sa mga to. Okay? And another findings is yung actual wire is TW pero nilagyan ng nylon. So meaning dangerous din siya kasi hindi siya kagaya nung temperature rating, 60 degrees Celsius lang nilagyan ng nylon. And then instead of 7 strands, nilagay nila 6 strands lang. So dapat nga, as I've mentioned, yung minimum, which is sa circuit sizes natin, is 7 strands dapat. Hindi sa sobra, hindi kukulang. So dapat ganon. And then all conductors had very long lay length. So kapag sinabi natin ganito, ito yung kapag binalatan natin yung wire natin, yung nylon and yung PVC, ang mangyayari po is lalabas po yung yung mabilis siya maghiwa-hiwalay kasi naka-conventional strand lang siya. So dapat kasi maganda is advisable is compressed strand para kapag binalatan natin yung wire, hindi sila maghihiwa-hiwalay agad. Ganon. Okay? So ito rin, merong fake wires with fake seals. So ito yung mga fake seals na nakikita namin, transparent siya, hindi siya kagaya ng pinakita ko sa inyo na parang blue, tapos nakalagay yung mga details doon din. And then ito na yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na flame retardant. So when we say flame retardant, ito yung ability na to stop yung pag-spread ng apoy sa other building materials. And then ang Phelps Dodge, gumagamit kami ng high quality PVC na raw materials that nag-aalaw siya to self-extinguish. So another characteristics of a building wire should have, even na hindi Phelps Dodge brand, dapat flame retardant siya. So ito, may actual testing kami. So kung makikita nyo, sabay namin siya tinest, Phelps Dodge versus competitor. So when we say flame retardant, yes, nasusunog siya, pero dapat hindi siya nag-i-spread ng apoy. Kung makikita niyo sa picture, makikita niyo yan, susunugin natin siya. Yan, na-damage siya, nasunog siya eventually. Pero kung tinanggal yung apoy, after 15 seconds of flame retardant application, yung Phelps Dodge wire, na-cease agad yung burn after 1 second lang. Okay? So eto, tignan natin yung sa competitor kung gaano katagal nag-last yung apoy doon sa kanyang wire, no? Makikita natin. So ngayon, nasa 38 seconds na siya. Okay. So umabot siya ng more than 1 minute. So sa testing methods kasi natin, dapat hindi siya lalagpas ng 1 minute kapag magsisis na yung apoy. So ito, kumbaga, yung ginamit nilang PVC dito, hindi compliant sa standard natin kasi na-cease yung fire more than a minute. So umabot na ng 1 minute and 42 seconds. Okay. So na-discuss na natin yung ating mga building wires. So now, let's discuss yung value engineering solution. So ito yung mga innovative solutions ni Phelps Dodge. So when we say value engineering solution, it is used to identify and solve problems and eliminate unwanted costs. So basically, ang aim niya is to increase the value of the product but with the lowest possible cost. So si Phelps Dodge po, hindi lang siya laging mahal kasi may mga ino-offer din kami na mas nakakamura yung client or yung projects natin. So we have PD Alumilite or yung Aluminum 8000 series. So kung makikita nyo dito, same construction siya nung copper building wires natin. Ang pinagkaiba lang niya is yung aluminum. So compact stranded po yung ginamit and 8000 series aluminum conductor. So as you have seen, 8000 series yung nakalagay dyan, naka-indicate din siya sa electrical code na 8000 series. Kasi po, kapag 1350 yung ginamit natin dyan, mas matigas siya compare sa 8000 series. So Yun yung pinagkaiba nung 3050 sa 8000. Kasi yung 8000 series parang almost same na sila ng characteristics ng copper conductor. So kumbaga, ang requirement dito para maging equivalent yung copper is mag-upsize tayo ng 2 beses the size. So let's say we have 30 mm squared na copper. Para maging equivalent siya ng aluminum, mag-upsize tayo ng 2 which is 38 and then 50 mm squared. So yun yung equivalent ng copper, 50 mm squared aluminum. So tatanungin nyo, yung lifespan po ba niya na iba? No. Kasi same naman yung ginamit na insulation natin and yung jacket. So hindi maiiba yung lifespan yan kasi nakadepende rin po yung buhay ng kable natin sa insulation. Okay. So anong advantage ni aluminum? So it is cost effective. So kung makikita nyo, alam naman natin na sa market, mas mura yung aluminum versus sa copper. And then it is lighter. It takes 1 kilogram of aluminum. Ayan, to the equal carrying capacity of 2 kilograms of conductor. So sabi ko sa inyo, 250 mm squared, mag-upsize ka ng 2, 375 mm squared. And then it is bigger by 15% only, pero it is lighter by 50%. So sa mga installer natin, mas mapapadali sa kanila yung pag-install kung aluminum yung gagamitin kasi mas magaan siya ng 50%. Hindi natin kailangan ng maraming manpower. Okay? So it is safe and reliable. Yes, we comply with with the underwriters laboratories. So kung makikita nyo dito, nakalagay na copper and aluminum yung pwede namin gamitin for our products and yung types ng building wires. And for cable tray used as well. So kung if you want to check, ito yung file number namin. And also it complies with the electrical code as I have mentioned. So both NEC and PEC nagko-comply siya. Okay? And then yung aluminum accessories is ito po, yung aluminum 9 copper. So ito yung tinatawag natin na dual rated connectors kasi alam naman natin yung mga usual connectors natin is for copper lang, no? So kapag ginamit kasi natin siya sa aluminum, magkakaroon ng galvanic corrosion, kakalawangin. So that's why kapag mag-a-avail kayo ng aluminum, dapat dual rated connectors na may label na Al9Cu, meaning aluminum, 90 degrees Celsius copper. So applicable siya for both aluminum and copper. So pwede rin kami mag-supply niyan sa inyo if ever may requirement kayo sa aluminum. So yung project reference namin, ito po, Mega World, SM, Ayala Land, Robinson. So kung makikita nyo, dito rin po yung SM kasi ginagamit nila na feeder size na yung aluminum building wires namin. Okay? So yun po. And then we have another solutions called metal clad cable or type MC. So kung makikita nyo, it also complies with both NEC and Philippine Electrical Code. So ang kinaganda nito, interlocking po siya. So meaning corrugated. So kapag hinila po natin yung armoring, hindi po dapat siya bubuka. So ayan po. So tatanungin nyo, flexible po ba ito? Meaning pwede po ba mag-apply ng iba't ibang design? Yes, pwede pong copper or aluminum. Sa insulation, pwede rin pong PVC, PVC with nylon or XLPE. And then sa core wrap, gumagamit tayo ng core wrap or yung mylar tape para pabilog pa rin po yung magiging construction niya. And then sa aluminum armor natin, sa armor natin gumagamit tayo ng aluminum strip armor. And then dalawa po yan. So pwede tayong with jacket or without jacket. So kapag may jacket, for outdoor po yan or direct burial installation. Pero kapag indoor lang po natin siya i-install, kahit wala na pong overall jacket. Kasi hindi naman po yan kinakanlawang unlike yung mga steel strip armor before na BX cable. Yun yung pinagkaiba niya. Ito, hindi siya kinakalawang and mas magaan din siya. And also, pwede siyang single core or multi-core. Pero syempre, mas advisable kung multi-core cable natin siya i-apply. And then sa low voltage rating, pwedeng low voltage or medium voltage. And then we have product certification and testing as well. Ayan po yung MC. Makikita nyo, meron din kaming UL certificate for that. Kung anong type, in size, and all. And yung applications ng MC pwedeng sa stadium, sa schools, sa high-rise building, sa hotels, malls, casino, at marami pa pong iba. Almost lahat na po actually pwedeng maging application ng MC. And then ano ba yung advantages niya? So ito po, all-in-one factory assemble na siya and fina-factory testing na rin namin siya. And strong siya, lightweight, durable aluminum ginamit, and corrosion, rodent, and termite resistant. Next, it possesses high flexibility kasi alam naman natin na kapag gumamit tayo ng conduit, meron tayong susundin na 490-degree bend rule. Kapag nakaapat tayo na 90-degree, dapat daw po kayo mag-pull backs, di ba? So, ganun po yung mangyayari. So, sa MC cable po, hindi na po applicable yung rule na yun because bending radius is not limited. Yan. So, mas malaki man yung maging bending radius niya, eventually, i-compare mo sa pull boxes, mas malaki pa din yung sasakupin na space ng pull boxes. Ganon. Okay? So, as mentioned, ayan, nagko-comply siya for these standards and marireduce natin yung installation steps niya by 30 to 50%. And also, ayun nga, it could reach up to 7 times diameter of the cable if ever. And then, less susceptible siya for pilferage. Hindi siya madaling manakawan din. Kasi nga, constructed na siya, nandun siya sa loob. Hindi siya ganun kabilis ma-expose. And then aesthetically clean looking siya, hindi natin siya kailangan pinturahan or what. So maayos siya tignan. So ito yung mga project reference namin for MC, yung SM Center EMUS, Data Center sa Makati, sa QC, and then sa Cebu din, we have projects for that. And meron kaming direct buried na MC cable, kung makikita nyo dito sa picture. Ayan. Yan. And then DMCI. So marami pa po kaming project reference. So pwede natin siyang i-discuss on another module, yung value engineering, pero pinadaanan ko lang po para ma-familiarize tayo. Okay. And then let's proceed na tama na yung selection material natin, no? Balik tayo sa domino effect. But what if sa installation nagkamali? So eventually, magli-lead pa rin siya sa cause ng fire. So we have to take note that electrical wiring can be easy enough for the average electricians, but there are some common mistakes that happen far too often. And also, these common mistakes and blunders can be a safety hazard and can ultimately cause electrical fires. So don't become a statistic working with electricity. So bibigyan ko kayo kung ano yung mga common installation mistakes na nakikita namin during installation. So take note lang din that some pictures here are from BFP. Yung mga nakita yung picture kanina from BFP nandito din. So okay. So first is no electrical box. So alam naman natin na it is important na meron tayong junction boxes para ma-detect natin sa accidental damage. So yung junction boxes kasi mas madali yung access natin sa wire since all we have to do is remove the covering to make alterations, yung repairs or additions to the conduit. So yung junction boxes kasi natin also protect wiring from the elements or environment. So sabi ko sa inyo, building wires siya. So dapat hindi siya pang outside or pang outdoor. So may mga environment dyan, moisture. So yun yung purpose ng junction box para hindi ma-expose yung wire natin sa mga ganong classifications. Next is wire too short. So tandaan natin na always have an allowance during and before the termination. So alam naman natin na kapag short yung cable natin or bitin sa termination, possible na magkaroon ng loose connection and it may be the cause of fire. So we need at least 3 inches allowance kapag nag-install tayo. And then leaving wires unprotected. So kanina na-mention ko na to na junction boxes are really important. So we have to find ways para hindi ma-expose yung mga material, especially yung wires and cable because very sensitive po yan or may I say vulnerable. So sila lalo yung mga nasa likod yung ng wall or ceiling frame. So hindi natin sila nakikita, hindi natin nakikita kung ano nangyayari sa wire. So it really needs to be protected. Next is poor support for outlets and loose connection. So dito naman, kapag hindi naging maayos yung ating pagkaka-install or loose yung ating outlet, ma-observe natin na may times na mag-i-spark every time na magsasaksak tayo. So pwede din to maging cause ng arcing. So na-mention to kanina ni Sir, or arc effect. So when we say arc fault, it refers to a situation in which loose or corroded wiring connections create an intermittent contact na nagkukos din eventually ng electrical current to spark or arc between metal contact points. So kapag may narinig kayo na light switch or kaya yung buzzing, yung hissing na kapag nagsasaksak tayo, you are hearing arcing na nangyayari. And then next is inadequate equipment grounding. So may times kasi po na inadequate or hindi sapat yung equipment natin for grounding. So ang purpose kasi niyan is protecting the workers, no, who regularly come in contact with electrical devices that might give them ng shock or kaya keep the voltage or the device in the healthy phase. So paano kung anong magiging resulta kung poor grounding? So ang pwedeng mangyari diyan, pwede siyang maging cause ng delay sa pag-clear ng faults or ang magiging resulta nun, insufficient na yung current flow natin. O kaya pwedeng mag-cause siya ng electric shocks kapag nag-operate tayo ng machine. O yun, mga ganon. So yung danger niya pwedeng maging fire nga caused by leaking ng electricity are increased exponentially. So ganun po. So dapat maganda yung magiging grounding natin, no? Then not using type convenience outlet. So ito yung recommended natin talaga na may grounding outlet. So kung makikita niyo sa mga bagong na condo, ganito na yung nakikita natin kasi ito talaga yung acceptable. Pero hindi natin maiwasan may mga gumagamit pa rin ng ganito. Pero as much as possible, ito yung gagamitin natin na outlet, yung may grounding type. Next is recessing boxes behind the wall surface. So dito, just in case na yung cable natin naka-install behind the wall surface, especially kapag combustible yung kagaya ng kahoy, kung nakikita sa picture, mag-provide tayo ng plastic box or metal box na extension just to protect para di basta-basta masusunog yung wall natin. Okay? And then installing cable without a clamp. So minsan yung clamp natin di natin na-i-install, which is not recommended kasi mahalaga yung cable clamp para yun sa ma-fix natin yung wire properly and supported yung cable natin para hindi siya ma-damage or magkaroon ng sagging. Okay. Then, overfilling electrical boxes. So kapag overfilling yung mga electrical boxes natin or pole boxes, once na mag-init kasi yung isang kable, possible na mag-iinit din lahat kasi nga magkakaligid sila. So it may lead to short circuit or fire. So iwasan natin na magkaroon ng congestion or make sure na yung design stage pa lang, planuhin natin mabuti yung specify yung number of sets ng wire and para hindi na maging problema yung congestions, di ba? Okay? And then reversing hot and neutral wires. So we recommend na magkaroon po ng color coding. So yun nga kaya ko pinakita rin yung color coding sa inyo, yung mga recommended color codings para hindi natin mapagpalit-palit yung neutral sa hot wire or sa grounding wire. Kasi once na mapagbaliktad, it will result to shock, especially sa mga malalaking kable. Next is not using GFCI device for circuits in damp locations or exterior areas. So yung ground fault circuit interrupter natin for outdoor installation especially, dahil exposed yan sa mga wet areas, yung GFCI kasi yan ang makakatulong yan kapag madetect niya na may moisture or ground fault, automatic na magtitrip siya. So yun yung purpose ng GFCI. So for additional safety din siya. Okay. Next is wiring a GFCI backward. So make sure lang na yung wiring natin for GFCI hindi natin mapagbaliktad. Kasi po meron siyang terminals or pair. So which is yung line ginagamit natin sa incoming ng power ng GFCI outlet. And then meron din siyang load. Yung load naman, yun yung nagpro-provide ng protection sa outlet natin. And then using of improper splices. So normally gumagamit tayo ng splicing if ever kailangan natin i-repair, if ever maka-encounter tayo ng problems, let's say sa mga commercial or industrial applications. So minsan kasi kulang yung size or kaya hindi enough yung sizes natin, so kailangan natin i-replace. So we don't recommend talaga actually yung splicing kasi dito tayo nakaka-encounter ng hotspots. Although hindi naman natin yun maiiwasan, especially kung may mga additional requirements tayo. So make sure lang na kapag nag-splice tayo, dapat properly and lagyan natin ng insulation like PVC tapes for dun sa mga maliliit or bad connector dun sa mga bigger sizes para ma-avoid pa rin natin yung short circuit and yung overheatings ng cable. Then lack of supervision during construction. So dito kasi minsan meron tayong mga hindi may uncertainties tayo during the installation. So don't be afraid to ask questions or to clarify dun sa mga heads natin or supervisors natin. So kasi hindi naman lahat yan ma-observe ng sabay, lalo na kung malalaki yung projects, no? So dapat maging mindful tayo, mapagmatsyag tayo kumbaga. So para kasi yung mga maliliit na problems pwedeng maging malaki siya eventually kapag naiwanan natin. So don't hesitate na magtanong kayo or mag-clarify. And then temporary wiring allowed to become temporary permanent. So ito naman yung sinasabi natin na pansamantagal. So sabi natin, ay sige dyan lang muna pansamantala. Pero nakakalimutan natin nagtatagal. So na-encounter namin to kapag mayroong mga gumagamit ng mga combustible materials like yung mga carton po or kaya yung mga PVC na pinagpabalatan natin na ginagamit na spacer. So ginagamit din siya minsan na bushing during cable pulling. So ayun po yung nangyayari. So pwedeng over time mag-init yan, maging cost ng sunog. Kasi tandaan naman natin na yung copper, parang hindi naman po, pag nag-init yan, it could reach to, kaya niyang i-tolerate up to 1,000 degrees Celsius. Pero kasi sa PVC na ginagamit natin na na-mention ko, up to 90 degrees Celsius lang. So kapag nagkaroon ng overheating yan, pwedeng masunog yung nilagay natin na pansamantagal na solusyon. So dapat maging mindful tayo doon, lalo na sa mga electricians, sa mga installer, na dapat hindi natin sinasanay yung sarili natin sa ganong practice. Kaya kami sa PD, we offer after-sale services. Mamaya di-discuss ko yung PD Engage. And then next is lack of safety sense. So ito yung pinakita kanina ni Sir na picture. So kung makikita nyo dito, parang kumbaga, yung pumasok ng cable sa wall, wala man lang water seal o kaya di man lang tinakpan. So yung cable natin, di naman natin nakikita yung current niyan. So dapat properly installed nga yung mga sinabi ni Sir, yung mga water tap, dapat may mga ganun. So yun nga yung sabi ni Sir, may main cause to, nagiging isa sa main cause nung sunog, no? And then not using bolt-on type mains. So we recommend bolt-on type mains kasi kapag gumamit tayo ng plug-in mains, it will result to loose connection or localized heating. And then ito rin, lack of maintenance. So dapat sa wire natin, di lang tayo basta-basta nag-i-install, tandaan po natin yan na we should conduct corrective maintenance. So when we say corrective maintenance, yun yung pag-check natin na dapat malinis siya, yung cable terminations, yung mga violations, yung color coding must be followed. Kaya dapat, yun nga, may recommended color coding tayo. Okay, reminders din na bago tayo mag-install, dapat may mga tools na tayo na to para hindi na tayo, makasave tayo ng time. No? Yung mga drills, screwdriver, needles, nose pliers, electrical tape, so non-contact voltage tester, utility knife, and wire stripper or cutter. Then, ito rin yung mga commonly used materials, no, sa mga electrical natin. So, yung junction boxes, yung wires, yung wire connectors, yung wood, yung mga spacer na hindi tayo gagamit ng mga pansamantagal na spacer, no, yung receptacles, yung electrical boxes, yung box extensions, and cable clamps. So ito po yung mga poor installation practices na nakikita namin seen in actual big projects actually. So first, ito po, poor po yung housekeeping niya. So may mga cable pa na hindi pa naka-install pero may mga pako na nakatabi o kaya hindi siya properly sealed. Kung nakikita niyo sa picture, hindi sealed yung conductor natin. So napapasukan ng sabi ko sa inyo, environment o yung moisture. So iwasan natin yan. Next is, ito yung congested. Grabe ka congested yung kable, di ba? So kapag nag-init kasi yung isang kable dyan, mag-iinit na lahat. Possible na ganun yung mangyari. So magkakaroon ng induction heating. So ang recommendation is i-properly group natin yung kable para ma-maximize din yung current. And ayun po, yung tandaan natin. Ito naman, kung makikita nyo sa left side, yung same phase, pinagsama-sama nila, no? So hindi po dapat. So dapat yung magkaka-group, yung phase A, B, and C, and kaya neutral, yun yung magkakasama, hindi yung ganyan, no? So mali yung ginawa nila dyan. So ang mangyayari dyan, induction heating din. So hindi magka-cancel out yung induction heating natin since same phases yung pinagsasama-sama natin. So dapat ang magkaka-group, phase A, B, and C, or kaya yung kasama rin neutral. So okay. So dito naman sa right side, sabi ko, di ba, wag sobrang damage ng nylon. So ito po, sobrang damage na nung nylon niya. So possible na ma-expose na rin eventually or over time si PVC. And next is yung pwede na yan attitude. So dito, kung makikita nyo, nag-improvise sila ng terminal lag. Diba? So which is mali ring practice. So dapat gamitin natin yung proper terminal lags kasi yan yung weak point nung connection natin. So yan yung expose kumbaga sa cable natin. So kapag lumuwag yan, possible na magkaroon ng loose connection or overheating. Next is ito naman, overbending or twisted wires. So as I mentioned, ang bending radius natin nasa 6 or 7 times na overall diameter. So di katulad nito, makikita nyo, baluktot na po yung wire. So sigurado, iinit po yung kable natin and mai-stress kasi stress na siya eh. So mamaya, makikita natin yung properly installed. And then wires not properly arranged. So ito po, nakikita nyo naman sa picture, klarong-klaro. Hindi siya properly grouped. And then hindi rin siya properly maintained. So dapat iwasan natin yun. So dapat yun nga para mas mabilis din natin siyang linisin, naka-properly group siya, properly maintained, naka-support siya. And yung clearance natin dapat may mga allowance tayo for bending the wire. Okay? Next is ito, building wires exposed in all weather conditions. So naka-expose po yung building wires natin. So when we say building wire, it is intended to be installed inside the building, not outside the building. So, hindi kasi siya all-weather conditions. So, meron tayong ibang type of insulation for that, which is hindi PVC. Mostly polyethylene yung mga ginagamit natin for outdoor application. And then, ito naman, overbending din sa right, yung spacer na sinasabi ko sa inyo na pansamantagal, ayan po. Ganyan yung ginagawa. So which is very dangerous. And then, ayun po, next is overbending din. Ito naman yung grouping. So kasi, di ba 1:1 yan as per PEC, yung terminal natin. So ginawa nila dito, pinagsama-sama nila yung dalawa or yung tatlong kable. So dapat, ang ginawa dyan is tinanong namin yung contractor. Tapos naubusan daw kasi sila ng malaking size. So kaya pinagsama-sama nila yung smaller sizes. So nakikita nyo sa picture. So delikado po yan. Kasi as mentioned, as per PEC, 1:1 po dapat yan. So kapag alam nyo na kukulangin kayo, magsabi na agad kayo sa mga heads para ma-inform sila. Okay? And then ito po, carton. Yung carton hindi natanggal, di ba? So yan yung mga maliliit na problema na eventually magiging malaking problema, no? And then sa thermal scanning, for your information, ang thermal scanning natin is dapat nag-range yung normal temperature niya between 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. So minsan makikita natin sa thermal scanning kapag medyo pula na yan, it's sabihin overheating na yan. And of course, kung meron tayong poor installation practices, papakita ko rin yung kayang-kaya model installations. So ito na po yung kayang-kaya. So dito makikita nyo proper yung pagkakabend niya. Okay? So no overbending ng wires. And then dito naman sa properly group siya. Kumbaga. Ayan, dito naman, ayan, properly group, ayos siya, meron siya mga support. And then dito, sa cable tray, no, kung makikita natin, may gumamit sila ng triangular configuration. So yung spacing in between natin, i-observe din natin to maximize the ampacity. So we must have the proper spacing para ma-minimize yung heating sa cable. And lagyan din natin ng cable ties kagaya na nakikita niyo sa picture para hindi siya magkatabi-tabi eventually. Next is observe din natin yung bending ng pull boxes. Kanina yung pull boxes natin, di ba grabe yung congestion. So ito sobrang ayos tignan. Dapat swabe yung pagkakabend niya. And then sa termination naman, yan, gumamit sila ng electrical separator. So proper yung separator na ginamit nila. And then dito gumamit sila ng, kung wala kayong heat shakeable tube, pwede tayong gumamit ng PVC tapes for additional protection sa dulo. Ayan, gumamit sila ng color coding din na PVC tapes. Okay? And then inside the panels, observe natin yung clearance para yung bending natin smooth as you can see in the picture. And then here, normally kapag copper yung lalagay natin, lagyan din natin ng compound, ng joint compound para sa termination. And dapat properly strip siya based sa nakikita niyo sa picture. Ayan, properly strip para walang ma-expose na conductor. And then, ayun po, ayan, part of our service is thermal scanning. Yan. So, ito yung other products namin, low voltage. Yan. Diyan papasok yung mga low voltage, either single or multi-core, shielded or armored, aluminum wire armored or steel wire armored, andyan. So, yun po. So, may mga low voltage power cables kami and also medium voltage, ayan. Yan yung kung kailangan nyo rin ng medium voltage, we can offer that to you as well. And yung overhead transmission lines, so ito yung ginagamit na 1350 aluminum alloy. Pero sa building wire natin, 8000 series. So okay, space aerial, meron din kami. Okay. And then VersaDuct or bus duct, meron din si Phelps Dodge. And also yung fire-rated cables related sa safety, ayan, meron din kami. So, pwede natin siyang gamitin in case of fire for emergency lighting and exit signs, sa life support equipment, sa fire pumps, sa fire alarm systems. So, yan, pwede natin siyang gamitin in case of fire unlike sa mga nasusunog natin na building wires. So, ito po, recommended siya na gamitin sa mga emergency exits. So, mga elevators, ganyan. And then ito yung PD Engage na sinasabi ko. So Phelps Dodge hindi lang po basta-basta nagbebenta ng wires and cable. We provide the total engineering advantage. We supply, we train, we do services, and we do performance, total performance. So first, we do training in cable selection and design. And we also supply of connectors and other materials if kailangan nyo. And also we conduct technical presentations and seminar just like this. And on-site pre-installation trainings for contractors. So ito before the COVID happened. So ngayong pandemic, virtual po muna yung pre-installation training namin. So iniiwasan po namin yung exposure sa tao. So syempre safety ang mahalaga ngayon during pandemic. And then technical visits, ayan. And then site audits and inspection. So dito naman po pwede ring makonduct siya virtually. May nagvi-video po in case na kailangan nila ng assistance or recommendation sa installation, nandyan din po kami. And thermal scanning services, ayan. And you can also visit our plant tour if it's available na. Pero right now, we can also conduct the plant tour via virtual or via online. So kayo po, kung gusto niyo pong magpaset sa amin, pwedeng-pwede po. Okay, so maraming salamat po. So I hope you learned something from my presentation and keep safe everyone.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Reginald M. Villarreal, again from Phelps Dodge, Philippines Energy Products Corporation. Okay, Sir Reginald, we have one question here. Ang tanong po is, bakit may wire na naging puti ang naging malutong?
Sorry, ano po, bakit may wire?
Na naging puti, na naging malutong.
Okay. So yan po yung sinatawag natin na kumbaga nai-stress po yung wire natin kasi nga yung bending niya hindi tama or di kaya naka-expose po siya outdoor kasi kapag yung THHN natin in-expose natin sa outdoor, possible po na ang mangyari doon is over time, magka-crack po yung nylon natin and then magkakaroon ng discoloration yung ating insulation.
Very good. So we have another question, sir.
Okay, sige po.
Paano naman daw po yung effect ng pinupinturahan ng insulated wires? Kung iba kasi ginagawa sa field yan, like kung white insulation lang available, pipinturahan ng need nila ng color, say black para lang magamit.
Okay. So yung mga ganyan kasi talaga, we don't recommend that. That's why sabi ko sa inyo sa design stage pa lang, dapat naka-indicate na yung color coding natin para maiwasan natin yung ganyan. Kasi eventually, kapag, as I've mentioned, kapag merong naka-expose na insulation at walang jacket yan ng nylon, pwedeng ma-absorb yan ng PVC natin over time. At kapag na-absorb natin ng PVC yan, possible po na ma-expose si conductor, madadamage din po yung conductor. So, pwedeng mag-cause ng short circuit yan o kaya ganon. So, iwasan po natin as much as possible. No? Kapag may nakita tayong ganong practices, i-inform natin na hindi dapat ganun. Kaya design stage pa lang, dapat may color coding na tayo na dinidesignate.
Alright, thank you so much once again, Engineer Reginald. I hope na sa mga nagtanong ng question na to, nasagot ng clear para sa inyo.
Yes, and if ever they have questions sa Q&A, I can answer it naman. Magta-type na lang ako since overtime na. So, thank you again, IAEE, for having us as one of your speakers and sponsor for this event.
Thank you so much as well, Sir Reginald. So, we will be awarding now the Certificate of Appreciation. Let me read the citation, please. This Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Phelps Dodge Philippines Energy Products Corporation for the topic Fundamentals of Electrical Wiring and Innovative Product Solution. Given this day, May 22nd, 2021, during the first National Electrical Enthusiast Summit. And of course, our research speaker, once again, Engineer Reginald M. Villaruel. A big round of applause, please. Thank you very much. All right, thank you, sir. So we will be answering the questions pa at the Q&A chat box. So ayan, masasagot po ang inyong mga katanungan. And of course, we have last but not the least topic for this morning. Let me introduce our next speaker. He is the Municipal Engineer, Electrical Engineer 4 of the Office of the Building Officials, Binangonan, Rizal. He is the Chairman of Municipal and City Engineers Committee, as well as the National Secretary and Board of Directors, Association of City and Municipality Electrical Engineers and Electricians. Let us all welcome no other than Engineer Joselito B. Reyes.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Wait lang.
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
I'm here to discuss about electrical permit. Next slide. As Ms. Munek said, I'm from Binangonan, Rizal. To begin with, do we need permit before any work? Sabi sa building code or Presidential Decree 1096, the National Building Code of the Philippines, rule number 3, permits and inspection. Section 301, building permit. Number 1, wait lang, technical error. Okay, sorry for that. National Building Code, Section 301, Building Permits. Number 1, no person, firm, or corporation, including any agency or instrumentality of the government, shall construct, alter, repair, use, occupy, move, demolish, and add any building or structure, portion thereof, or cause the same to be done without first securing building permit, therefore, from the building official assigned to the place where the subject building or structure is located. Yan po ang sinasabi ng National Building Code, hindi pwedeng mag-start ng mga project o anumang gawain ng walang permit. Next. Where do we get permits? Kinukuha po natin ang permits natin, lahat ng permits sa Office of the Building Official, kung saan kayo ay magpapatayo ng mga pagawain. Anong munisipyo yan, anong city yan. Section 3, Section 3 on number 2, permits supplementary to a building permit shall be applied for and issued by the building official. This includes ancillary permits and accessory permits. Ano ba yung ancillary permits na yan? The ancillary permits duly signed and sealed by the corresponding professionals, and the plans and the specifications shall be submitted together with the duly notarized application for building permits. Yung mga ancillary permits po, pag sinabi sa building office, dapat po yan permado na ng professional na dapat pumirma sa mga forms na yan. Ang building permit po ay dapat notarized. Tandaan po natin, nasusulat po sa building code, note, building permit is null and void if not accompanied by ancillary permits. Ano ba yung mga ancillary permits na yan? Ano bang mga sinasabi yan? Sabi sa building code, kaya mayroon tayo rito, what are included in ancillary permits? Number 1, architectural permit. Number 2, civil or structural permit. Number 3, electrical permit. Number 4, mechanical permit. Number 5, sanitary permit. Number 6, plumbing permit. And lastly, number 7, electronics permit. Section 302 again, application for permits. Number 1, any person desiring to obtain a building permit and any ancillary permits or accessory permits together with a building permit shall file application, therefore, on the prescribed application form. Bawat permit po may kanya-kanyang form yan. Hindi pwede maghalo, basta tatandaan, yung building permit, lagi may kasamang ancillary permits. Ito po nasa screen natin ang sample ng building permit. Isusulat po dyan yung project owner, address ng owner, at address po ng location or the project itself. Pipirmahan po yan ng nasa likod po niyan yung mga form, andyan po yung amount. Kayo na rin po ang magsusulat yan. Yung applicant mismo magsusulat kung magkano ang project cost. Tapos dapat po pirmado yan ng supervising engineer. Normally, pag building permit, civil engineer, structural engineer, or architect. Yung lower box po, dapat pirmado rin yan ng supervising engineer. Yung upper box is the designing engineer, lower box is the supervising engineer. Yung upper portion, yung upper right po, lower right, the owner. Yan po yung form ng standard form ng building permit na approved ng DPWH. Dahil po we're talking about electrical permit, pag pinilapan po natin yung building permit, ito po ang sinasabing ancillary permit. Name of the applicants, dapat po itong name of applicants, same name po na minention natin doon sa building permit. Same address ng applicant at same address po yung nasa project location. May box po dyan mali, check natin kung ano yung type of installation, new, renew, what, or whatsoever, reconnection, tapos yung KVA capacity. Yung next box po niyan ay intended para po sa designing engineer, that is the professional electrical engineer. Sa lower box po, intended na pwede po dyan pumirma at hahanapin po namin pag nag-apply kayo, yung professional electrical engineer who is in charge of installation, pwede rin pong registered electrical engineer o registered master electrician. Dapat po pag sinabit ninyo ang application for electrical permit together with building permit, yung owner po nakapirma. Ibinabalik po yan kapag yung owner ay blanco. Meron purong sa lower right portion, may box po ron with my consent. Nangyayari po yan kapag yung applicant ay hindi pa sa kanya nakapangalan yung lupa. So kailangan rin pong pirma niya, pero may mga attached document po yan. Sa likuran po niyan, diyan po nilalagay ang amount ng project. At kung babasahin po niyo sa bandang ilalim, action taken, may number 1 po dyan sa form na yan, the designing engineer is responsible for the next 14 years sa design na yan. So, next please. Section 302, application for permits. Number 2, together with the accomplished prescribed application forms, the following shall be submitted to OBO, Office of the Building Official. A, certified true copy of OCT, TCT, title po ng lupa yan. Letter B, tax declaration. Yan po nagpapatunay na yung lupa existing, nakarecord sa assessors ng munisipyo yung ina-apply nyo ng City Hall. Letter C, cadastral plan or cadastral lot or lot plan. Hinahanap po namin yan kasi po minsan yung applicant, kahit nakadeclare yung lote niya, ay nawawala sa kadastro. Dapat po lahat po yung lalabas. And lastly, latest real property tax receipt. Hindi po kami nagpo-process pag kami utang sa amilyar. Common po sa lahat ng City Hall yan o sa lahat ng OBO. Note, in the case, yung sinabi ko po kanina, in the case the applicant is the registered owner of the lot, in addition to those requirements, a duly notarized copy of contract of lease or deed of absolute sale shall be added to the requirements. Basta nga po hindi siya nakapangalan yung titulo at doon sa applicant, hahanapin po sa Office of the Building Official yan. Otherwise, your application will be returned. Not reject, only returned. Pag nag-submit po kayo, ang kailangan naming submittals ay 5 sets of electrical plans and the specification. Ang laman po niyan ay number 1, expectation namin, location plan and site plans. Number 2, load schedule. Number 3, single line diagram. Number 4, power and lighting layout, including locations of panel boards and disconnects. Number 5, design analysis. Number 6, legends and symbols. Pagka nagsubmit po kayo, sa receiving pala namin i-scan po yan. Hindi pa chinecheck kung tama o mali or may pagkukulang. Basta yung at least yung 6 na po yan, nahanapin po agad yan. Then it will be received. Plans and specifications shall be signed and sealed by the professional electrical engineer, including the ancillary forms. Meron po kasing instances, pag na-check po namin, magkaiba yung nakapirma sa plano at magkaiba yung nakapirma sa form. Dapat po, kung sinong pumirma sa form, ay siya rin po pumirma sa plano. Ibinabalik po namin yun. And sa lower box po in the form, the in charge of the construction, maybe at PE, RE, or RME, shall also affix their signatures. A copy of their valid PRC ID and PTR shall also be submitted. Hahanapin po namin yan. Hindi po ipaprocess pag hindi namin nakita yung valid PRC at saka updated na PTR. Ang PTR po, para reminder sa mga nagpa-practice, expired ng December 30. Pagka po nag-apply kayo ng January at ang PTR po ninyo last year pa, medyo ibabalik po yan. Sa size po ng plan, other than sa standard plan, which is about 20 by 30, tinatanggap po namin ang size A3. Approved na rin po naman ng DPWH at common practice na po yan. Basta po sa standard na size A3, andun din po ang mga measurement, sa mga borders and dimensions. Bakit ba pinag-uusapan yung electrical regulations sa building code? Sino bang masusunod? Building code ba o electrical code o Philippine Electrical Code or Republic Act 7920? Sa building code section 1301, section 1301, electrical regulations. All electrical systems, equipment, and installation mentioned in this code is the building code, shall conform to the provisions of Philippine Electrical Code as adopted by the Board of Electrical Engineering pursuant to Republic Act 7920, otherwise known as Electrical Engineering Law. Meaning to say po, lahat po ng sinasabi sa National Building Code o Presidential Decree 1096, lahat po ng regulation about sa electrical, kasi po nasusulat rin sa building code ang lahat ng electrical regulation or part of the 7920, sinasabi po sa building code, ang masusunod po ay Philippine Electrical Code and RA 7920. So yung nasa building code po, guide lang po yun. So na-mention na po ang permit sa building code. Now we go to Philippine Electrical Code as mentioned by the building code, na lahat ng regulation ay pupunta dapat, ay susunod dapat ay Philippine Electrical Code. PEC Article 1.2, Permits and Inspection Certificate. 1.2.1, Electrical Permits. 1.2.1.1, Electrical Permit needed before work is started. So sa 1.2.1 po ng PEC at ng building code ay tumutugma po sila na walang dapat gagawin. No project shall be started without securing first permit. Sa PEC po, we talk about electrical permit. Sa building code, in general po. Nevertheless, both of them are requiring for the applicant to secure permits prior to work. PEC 1.2.1.2, requirements for electrical permit. 1.2.1.3, electrical permit to be issued immediately. And 1.2.1.4, posting of electrical permit. 1.2.1.1, electrical permit needed before work is started, as stated in PEC. Before starting any installation work, alternation, repair, or extension of any electrical system, the owners, lessors, operators, occupants, or licensed electrical practitioner, normally tawag na sa LEP, shall obtain electrical permit for buildings, trailers, mobile homes, or other premises from the office of the local building official, and for watercrafts from Authority of Maritime Concern. Yan nga po yung sinasabi ko kanina, dapat bago mag-start ng mga project or work, dapat may permit. Meron pong penalties sa ganyan. Kung magkano, sasabihin po sa inyo ng building official. At po ng penalties ay nasasabi sa building code. In securing electrical permit, the services of LEP, Licensed Electrical Practitioner, is required under Republic Act 1720 or National Electrical Engineering Law. Malinaw pong sinasabi sa PEC, dapat ay mag-hire tayo ng mga licensed electrical practitioner during application of permit. Kung sa application pa lang po, may kailangan na natin ng LEP, what more sa the work itself. Requirement for electrical permit, halos the same po na yung na-mention sa building code, yun na rin po rito, nagtumutugma po sila. Electrical permit to be issued immediately. A. The application upon receipt shall be checked immediately by the electrical engineer of the local building official or his representatives for compliance with the requirement. If complying, the electrical permit shall be issued upon payment of the corresponding electrical fees. So malinaw po din sa code natin na kapag kayo o sino mang nag-a-apply ng permit, kapag kumpleto po ang lahat ng requirement nyo, walang dahilan para madili ang application ninyo. Papakita nyo lang yan, pwede nyo tanungin. Maayos naman po pag nagtatanong, ba't matagal? Di ba? Wala pong dahilan kami para ipigilan ang pag-a-apply ninyo. Dapat po time-bounded yan as said by the civil service. Lahat ng application is time-bounded. Sa building code po may time frame po yan. Sa schedule of fees po, nakikita po sa building code. Kaya yung mga LEP, hindi po dapat, siguro po mas maganda rin bumili rin kayo ng building code, hindi lang PEC. Nasa likod po, hindi po kami nanguhula sa office of the building official ng mga rate of payments. Pwede po ninyo kaming tanungin, sir, saan ba nanggaling fees na yon? Papakita po namin sa inyo kung paano kinompute, anong basihan, nasa building code po yan. Sa ibang lugar naman po, ibang munisipyo, ibang city hall, meron po silang ordinansa na nag-a-adjust ng payment. Pero pwede po ninyo hingin yung ordinance number na yon. Posting of electrical permit. A copy of electrical permit shall be posted on the construction or job site, including the design engineer and engineer in charge of construction. Siguro po it's about time na pasikatin natin yung profession natin. Hindi yung nakikita na sa mga building, architect, civil engineers, plumbing. Tayo po mismo nag-apply ng permit or kayo in charge sa construction, gumawa po kayo ng visible na mga signage, legal naman po yun. Isulat yung designing engineers, katabi ng mga architect, ng mga ng master plumbers para makita po sino yung PE dyan, sino yung RE dyan, o sino yung RME. Para at the same time, na-expose po ang name nyo, advertisement. At the same time, nakikita po yung project na yon ay safe kasi merong LEP sa loob. Types of electrical permit. Bakit ba, ano ba yung electrical permit? Are they uniform? Hindi po. Yung pong pinag-usapan natin kanina ay common po yung sa new installation. Pag nag-apply po ng building permit, bago po yun. So, we consider new application. At ano po yung sinasabi ko, number 1, new construction. Applied together with building permit. Requirement is full. So ang reminder ko po, kung sino nakapangalan sa building permit, siya rin nakapangalan sa electrical permit. Number 2, reconnection of service. Ito po yung medyo naputula lang, siguro kinapos ng bayad. Ang kailangan po namin submit dyan, hinihingi po lang sa applicant, Meralco bill, saka filled up electrical permit form. Yan po ang pinakamabilis sa amin. Meron pong separation of service entrance. Minsan nga po sa opisina namin, may nag-a-apply. Sir, engineer, mag-a-apply pa ako ng separation. Ano po bang separate yung kasal o ano? Dapat po malinaw, separation of service entrance. Ang hinihingi po namin sa ganon, una, load schedule, single line diagram, tax receipt ng amilyar. Katulad po ng sabi namin sa lahat po ng application na sa electrical permit, hindi namin pinaprocess kapag may utang sa tax sa lupa. Number 4, remodeling of service entrance. Ano bang reason kung ba't kayo nagre-remodel? So hinihingi po namin ang minutes remodeling, active po ang service niya, hinihingi po namin yung inspection report ng Meralco. Was reason? Dahil nagbabago kayo ng service entrance, kukuha po kami ng load schedule at saka single line diagram. And lastly, completely filled up application form. Relocation of service entrance, marami rin pong nag-a-apply niyan, yung medyo pinalad na magka-pera, lumaki ang bahay. So, nare-relocate po nilang service entrance. Una, nasa loob, ilalabas na po yan. Ang iba naman po, reason, hindi na nare-reading ng utility companies yung mga metro nila. So, ilalabas po yan. So, again, kailan po ng permit yan? Ang requirements, in our case, Meralco franchise, Meralco inspection report, load schedule, and single line diagram. Upgrade of services. Ibig po sabihin, yung existing yung building, lumaki ang load, kailangan siya magbago ng service entrance. Number 1, kailangan i-submit ang load schedule. Number 2, single line diagram. Dahil lumaki na po yan, medyo mas maraming load, hihingi na po namin ang design analysis and again, tax receipt. Yung next po namin, ito naman po ang sinusunod naming simpleng flowchart in application of permit. Pag-apply po ng permit sa amin, i-check po yan kasi pre-interview na po yan, i-receive, tapos magkakaroon po ng contact, then iruruta na po yan ang receiving namin papuntang zoning, fire, DPWH, and assessor's office. Kapag ka po yung i-develop yung property is more than 2,500 square meter, in our case, kailangan pong sangguniang bayan resolution. Without that, i-stop po namin ang application ninyo. At kapag ka po nasunod niyo yan, final evaluation and review and payment shall be requested. Approve po yung building official, i-release na po yan. Sa case naman po namin, papakita ko sa inyo yung citizens charter namin sa Binangonan. Ang engineering po kasi sa amin sa Office of the Building Official ay part ng frontline services. So nire-required po kami at inuurasan ng civil service ng lahat po ng application ay time-bounded. Say, pag nag-apply ka po ng electrical permit o building permit, yun pong pagkuha pa lang ninyo ng form, nire-remind na po kayo, ibibigay na ang lahat ng requirements. Tapos papaliwanag po sa inyo, and that takes about 10 minutes. Kapag ka naman po bumalik kayo at kumpleto na, at nag-apply na po kayo ng electrical permit, together with the building permit, sa amin po ay 12 hours lang ang inaproban ng civil service. And we can do that kapag ka po kumpleto, at nakita po at bakante yung magre-review at alam po namin yung lugar, within the day, pag nakita po namin yung design niya, mukhang okay naman po dahil mananagutan po niya, design ng engineer, it will be released on the same day. Lahat po yan, time-bounded kami. Kaya sinasabi ko po kanina, pinakamabilis sa amin, reconnection. Kasi po, na-double check na rin po yan. Na-check ng inspector ng Meralco at na-check po yan ng inspector namin ng mga trained electrician at meron po rin po kami master electricians. Sa opisina po namin, halos lahat po ng electrician ay test the trained and C2 and tinitraining ko pa rin po sila. So makikita po ninyo lahat ng application sa OBO po namin sa Municipal Binangonan ay time bounded. Kaya po laging pagka po sumobra pa dyan, pwede po ninyo kayo reklamo sa Office of the Mayor, may drop box po kami sa harapan namin or sa DILG, katabi po namin sila. So diyan po nagtatapos ang presentation ng committee ko sa electrical permits. Salamat po.
Alright, thank you, Engineer Joselito B. Reyes. Ayan, nakakatuwang malaman no, na sinabi niya time-bound. So, meron talaga silang sinusunod kaya rest assured na mapaprocess yung mga electrical permits niyo, no, pag lalo na sa Binangonan. Kaya hanapin na natin si Sir Joselito Reyes. Of course, we will proceed now to the Q&A portion. We have one question here, sir. Is it required the government project to have building permit before construction by the contractor? Parang nasagot na rin to kanina.
lahat po ng lahat po ng contractor sa amin prior to construction of any structure, nire-required po namin ng mag-apply. Maybe kahit po government building, schools, and the likes. Kasi po mismo si DPWH, pagka project po under the supervision of DPWH, papupuntahin po muna sila sa amin kasi iniiwasan natin yung mga consequences na nag-construct ng wala pang permit na aksidente. Babalik po tayo, may permit ba yan? Ano bang ginagawa nyo? Saka yung mga complaint para maiwasan po. Madalas po sa case namin, ang complaint is about the boundaries.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And we have another question. Paano po kapag renovation? Like for example, sa isang condo unit, mag-renovate sa loob, need pa ba ng permits? Anong mga permits po ang needed?
Katulad nga ng sabi dyan, no work shall be done without permits. Pero kapag ka sinabi ng condo, yung administration ng condominium, kapag ka minor lang renovation, it's up to them. But basically, as the code said, no work shall be done without any permits. Kasi yan dyan nga kami nahihirapan, lalo sa mga sa highly urban, hindi namin na-monitor yan. Kasi inside works na yan ng mga condominium. It depends na lang sa property manager kasi they have to take care. Pag nagkaroon ng aksidente yan, pati sila masaset ng violation. So, may problema sila sa City Hall.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Joselito. Another question here, please. Hindi po ba kasama sa requirements ng electrical plan, yung voltage drop calculation and short circuit computation?
Ay, nakalimutan lang po, partial and design analysis.
Okay. So that ends our question and answer portion for this topic, electrical permit application. So let me now proceed to the certificate of appreciation. Allow me to read. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Engineer Joselito B. Reyes for imparting his knowledge and expertise as resource speaker on the topic electrical permit application. During the first National Electrical Enthusiast Summit via Zoom held today, May 2022, 2021. Ayan. Thank you very much once again, Engineer Joselito B. Reyes. So, picture taking first before we proceed to our lunch break. Ayan, pwedeng mag-on po ng camera. Okay. Ayan. So again, remind natin, meron tayong raffle later before we proceed to our second part this afternoon of our technical sessions. And of course, the first set of winners will be announced during the lunch break. And winners will be coming from the paid delegates. Ayan. And we will use or utilize the name picker to choose the winners. And the name of the winners will be posted at the IAE FB page. Ayan. So make sure na kayo ay nandyan mamaya para malaman nyo kung sino yung mananalo. And you can send your shipping details to iae.rme@gmail.com para sa mga mananalo, and we will just send it all as well to the chat box. Okay, at dahil yung ating mga prizes din is binibili sa ating IAE merchandise, so napakasaya, no? Ito ay free na ibibigay later on. So sit back and relax. So we will be having our lunch break. We will resume 12:45 in the afternoon.
Sounds po.
Ate Ken, wala pong sound.
Consistently keeping up with a fast-paced economy for more than 60 years. Phelps Dodge, the leading manufacturer of wires and cables in the country, upholds its commitment in providing the highest quality of electric wires and cables needed for all types of infrastructure.
Our product is synonymous with safety. We pride ourselves as an innovative company